It seems another world that art takes us to. And when we poets gather, it is with a mission to disseminate a beauty that makes our individual existence universal. We, the poets, feel the pain the world goes through. We, the poets, live the pain the world fails to express. And we, the poets, transform that pain into art, which has the power to soothe those melancholy hearts that suffer the pain. Therefore, I think in times like these, in times of the pandemic, when the physical and mental cure is still awaited, we the poets shoulder the responsibility of spreading solace and radiance of positive thought throughout the world. Now, on this grand occasion, I feel honored and privileged to welcome our guests. Our chief guest for today's conference is Dr. Vasudev Chakrabarti, who needs no introduction. We are all familiar with him, and he is here with us on the screen. As guest of honor, we have Professor Surinder Lalji and also our very friendly Dr. Maja Herman Sekulik, who will also grace the occasion today. So, being a kind of an introductory session of this huge conference and also the anniversary celebration, let me clarify the purpose of today's meeting is, the prime purpose is to introduce the great literary works that are now being created of World Literature India to the world of readers who taste, admire, and believe in the strength of poetry. So here we present the world premiere of 4 books. These 4 books that will be released today are 21st Century Critical Thought, the first volume, The Plague, The Metaphor is Dead, which is a book of epical dimension and epic, The Reluctant Dawn, poetry, and Postmodern Voices, volume 1 and 2. So before we initiate the scholarly deliberations and talks, we here with us have a scintillating beauty, ready to rock our virtual stage and welcome us in the most colorful and jovial manner. I request Mukeshji to please get active and introduce us to the sweet, little, beautiful, the most talented Sargun for a welcome dance. Mukeshji?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. So here we have Sargun.
Sound, please.
Very
Thank you, dear Sargun. That was indeed a feast to begin with. And now I invite our patron, the chief organizer, the man behind massive projects, and a soul behind the incessant promotion of poetry, Dr. Jernail Sir, to please come up on the screen, welcome our guests, participants, and viewers in this event, and throw some light on the details of this conference. Dr. Anand.
Thank you, Praneeth. Dear Dr. Vasudev Chakravarti, our chief guest, and guest of honor, Principal Surendra Lalji, Dr. Maja Harman Sekulak, and my eminent fellow scholars, my deep thanks for assembling here for the release of my books. This attempt to get together also marks an introduction to Second World Poetry Conference slated for Chandigarh, maybe next year. First of all, I express my thanks to all the 40 scholars whose soulful interviews feature in my work, 21st Century Critical Thought. Here is an attempt to gather at one place the literary wisdom that marks our times. We often go back again and again to Eliot and Donne. They represented their times. We need to refer to them and even to ancient wisdom, but evaluate it in the context of our times and come up with a tradition which is tempered with individual talent. Only tradition and no individual talent is looking to the past and moving into the future. We must present to succeeding generations a foothold of the present, stepping on which they may go ahead. Otherwise, there will be past and no present, because present will be no different from the past, and past will extend over to our future also. Do we want to live in 17th or 18th century? Don't you find a great gap between two sensibilities? The scholars today must work with one eye on the past and the other on the future. Turning both eyes backwards or forwards will falsify our present. So here is an effort to freeze the dynamic time into a time segment we can call 21st century critical thought. Last year, myself and Dr. Vasudev Chakravarti had edited a book, Pan India English Poetry, of first 2 decades. And this is a parallel effort in which the poet is discussing his poetics. My book, The Plague, about which Dr. Praneeth referred, is an epic in Greek style and focuses on the intellectual plague that has befallen us. Because we are armed with superpowers of artificial intelligence and creative intelligence too. But it all proves self-defeating because we are not in possession of imaginative intelligence. Apple, the forbidden fruit, is in vogue again, and it has added to our knowledge but sucked our wisdom. World Literature India is also helping young authors publish their poetry. 2 volumes are out. I congratulate the poets and also the poets of volume 3 and 4. I'm thankful to Jonas Evenson for writing foreword to my book, The Reluctant Dawn. Foreword to Plague has been written by Dr. Harish Narang. Dr. Lalit Mohan Sharma is constantly reviewing my works, as other scholars, Dr. Vasudev Chakravarti, Dr. Maja Harman Sekulik, Dr. April Zank, Dr. T.S. Anand, Arindam Roy, Bhagirath Chaudhary Sahab, Dr. Praneeth Jaggi, Dr. Lakshmi Sri, Jairam Seshadri, Tariq Sahab, Dr. Rashid Pelpo from Ghana, Kalpana Purohit, Madam Kalpana Purohit, Eddie Caparis Manila, Dr. Beena Singh, Dr. Molly, Joseph Gitanjali Dilip. I have always been supported by my friends Ravi Sahab and Raj Babuji. I hope we will be able to create a poetic world in which is more interested in the present and create new literary and human values which represent our world in all its different hues. Thank you very much for being with us. Thanks, Dr. Praneeth, for conducting this show, and Dr. Mukesh Grover and Sranya Francis for technical coordination. Yes, before I leave off, my congratulations to the 5 chosen ones, the young poets who have the power to build up a grand future for mankind. There are many, I believe. A little care we need, and we shall be able to make healthy traditions for the present as well. Once again, I thank all my friends, colleagues, and well wishers who are here to add grace to the proceedings. Thank you very much. Dr. Praneeth, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that welcome address and the kind of motivation you've been giving to the youngsters and all around you. Uh, in the very beginning of this conference, lest I forget, I would like to thank our special technical coordinator, Dr. Mukesh Grover, for his immense support and cooperation always, and also our coordination committee, Dr. Stella, Dr. Kiran-Preet, Dr. Shobha Sharma, Dr. Sarita Sharma, Dr. Tejaswini, Dr. Sushminder Kaur, Madam Meenakshi Goswami, and Inderjeet Singh ji. Thank you so much for being there to make this a success. Now, coming to the main event of this conference to introduce the literary works of World Literature India to the world of readers who actually like to taste, admire, and they believe in the strength and potential of poetry today. So let's proceed for the book release of the first book we have, 21st Century Critical Thought. I think in a world that is constantly changing, growing, evolving, and speeding up, Dr. J.S. Anand has always felt an urge to collect the responses of poets from all around the world and record them in the form of critical thoughts and observations. So the result is this book, 21st Century Critical Thought. And I think we've been readers of literature for a long time, but now, since the world has more access to tools for sharing, expressing, and exchanging our thoughts, so this book becomes an asset in English literature. So let's welcome our guests on screen. I would request Dr. Vasudev Chakrabarti, uh, Mr. Arindam Roy, Sir, Madam Dr. Lakshmi Sri Banerjee, Mr. Bhagirath Chaudhary Sir, and Madam Adi Kaparas Manila, Australia, to be there on screen to formally launch this book, 21st Century Critical Thought. My request to Dr. Anand to display the book and Dr. Vasudev Chakrabarti to formally release the book in his own words, to formally announce the release of the book, 21st Century Critical Thought.
Dr. Praneeth, please request other poets who have received the copies to just show up.
Yeah, my special request to the viewers and poets here, my senior poets, my elders, to display the book if they have it in hand with them, to display it on the screen. My request to Kiran Madam, Kiran Preet and Mukesh Sir, could you focus the screen on the book, Dr. Anand's screen so that we could have a close glimpse of the book 21st Century Critical Thought. I think we all need an applause, sir.
Thank
Thank you for making such an effort in which you have not just put in your own thoughts and reflections about poetry and literature, but you've taken the pains to collect these ideas from all the thinkers around that you could meet. Thank you so much. I would now request Dr. Basudev, if we have him on the screen with us. Dr. Basudev Chakrabarti, can you hear me, sir? Dr. Basudev Chakrabarti, if he's there on the screen.
Yes, ma'am. I can see, sir.
Vasudev sir, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Vasudev, sir?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Vasudev sir. Vasudev sir. Now you are
Hello.
unmute.
Okay,
Your turn.
okay. Let me move on to, because I can see Arindam Roy, sir, pretty active on the screen right now, and he's watching everything. We'll wait for Basudev, sir, for a few moments. Arindam Roy, sir, can I request you to speak a few words on this book and your general impressions about literature today? Over to Arindam Roy, sir. Thank you.
Arindam Roy sir, you are unmuted.
Yeah, but okay. Can I speak now?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. Okay. Hello. I don't see myself anyway. I see myself in a small screen, but anyway, I'm speaking. This is a wonderful book. I received this last night. I was studying journalism this morning, and I meticulously counted the number of scholars who have been featured here. There's 51. It's a very nice figure, journalism. It's 51, not 40. So there are 11 more. And the volume of the book and the feel and everything about it is so nice. I would like to add, as a journalist and a bit of a poet also, that you see, this is a combination of a journalistic exercise and poetry. Jernail has, for the first time, taken an academic topic in an interview format. This, to my mind, is something very new. I have not seen this. We do see some such interviews now and then. I remember many, many moons ago, Dilip Padgaonkar, who was heading the Times of India, he had interviewed a Hebrew poet, Oz, right? And Times of India had brought it out in about, we had this broadside page, the bigger newspaper, not the smaller one as we have now. And in that we had about 6 pages of interview. I suppose that was the only time when Times of India had such an interview. So somehow, when I was going through that book, going through this, question answer, I was suddenly reminded of Dilip Padgaonkar's interview also. So it's a wonderful thing. I have just scanned through the book. It's very rich in content. It's multi-layered. You have talked of various aspects, the various scholars. Of course, the paucity of time does not allow me to go into details, but it's a wonderful, wonderful experience to hold this book in hand and read it. My topic was, of course, as you would all know, the connection between journalism and poetry. And for me, these questions were very new, very fresh, and some of them I had to think very deeply before answering. So thanks, Dr. Jernail. You have done a wonderful job. And literature as such, is a calming effect in times of turmoil, in times of stress, as we are having now during the pandemic, when people are away from each other, we are very distant from each other. So this is the time when we can connect to each other, at least technology. At one point we thought that technology and liberal arts were, at where not connected with each other. But at least now we know that technology can be put to use for liberal arts and humanity, and which we are doing. I'm doing it for my webinars. Dr. Jernail ji is doing it right now. And so many of us are doing it. And we are coming together from various parts of the world. You see, without traveling, we are traveling. You know, we are meeting at a point. So technology has made it possible. So at one time is a human fantasy, possibly which we literateurs think, which we imagine, which we fantasize, somewhere down the line, you see, we find scientists and thinkers or technicians, you know, technocrats, make it alive, bring it alive. So this is a wonderful synergy which is happening. Often we feel that technology and literature are not going hand in hand. That is not the case at all. We are absolutely in sync. Yes, we think. Thought precedes action. We think first. Even scientists think first, some of them. And then they bring it alive. They bring it to action. So this is a wonderful thing about literature, about science, about, you know, various disciplines are coming together. There's a convergence. There's a confluence. So that is what we should enjoy. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you, Jernail ji. Thank you, Parneet. Thank you, everyone.
In real life, we used to meet face to face.
Yes, that's true.
Now we meet soul to soul.
Yeah, that's true. And a minds meeting of minds and hearts. Meeting of minds and hearts, as we can say. Yes, right. Of course, वो सामने मिलने का तो alternative नहीं है, but yes, this is not bad either. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Arindam Roy, sir, we know him as a publisher, as an editor, author, poet, translator, even a novelist, and a teacher of journalism and mass communication. Who could comment better than you, sir, on this journalistic collection that you said, and also your comment on the synchronization and compatibility of literature, science, and technology. Yes, this is the time we need to understand, we need to go with the flow of this synchronization. Thank you for being there, sir.
Thank you.
My humble request to Madam Dr. Lakshmi Sri Banerjee, if she can hear me. Ma'am, I can see you, you are present there. Let me introduce you to the audience, because I would request you to speak a few words on this book and on literature as a whole. Madam Professor Lakshmi Sri Banerjee, she is an established poet, writer, educationist, scholar, and she's also practicing classical vocal music, which I delightfully heard on the Facebook, and I was so impressed with the Gandhi Bhajan. And she has a number of international awards and publications to her credit. She has been a senior Fulbright scholar to USA, Commonwealth scholar to UK, and a gold medalist in English from Calcutta University. She has been a university professor of English and culture studies, and she has lectured and taught in premier universities across the world. Well, she has a long introduction, but I think I would prefer to give her the time to speak rather than just go on and on and on. Madam Banerjee, I invite you on screen to express yourself on this book and on the whole literature.
Ma'am Lakshmi Banerjee, please unmute yourself.
Yes, I have. Can you see me?
Yeah.
I can't see, of course. Am I on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Should I speak?
Yeah, carry on.
Okay, a very good evening to all of you, and Dr. Jernail Singh, who's the
I don't listen to it. I don't listen, please. There are some problems in this microphone, in this.
Lakshmi ma'am नहीं हो पा रही थी.
Hello?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am, you're audible, ma'am.
No, because something, Dr. Basudev Chakravarti is being seen here, so should I talk?
Yes,
you-
ma'am, we are able
can
to
you-
see you. Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so a very good evening to all of you, and a very special thank you to Dr. J.S. Anand, the arch motivator, the person who has conceived, who has so well planned, organized, and executed this mega project for what should I say, for the universalization of poetry and, in the larger sense, literature across the globe. And I'm very thankful that I could be a part of this very meaningful and very collaborative project. I would just like to share just a few viewpoints, despite the fact that Shri Arindam Roy, of course, there are a lot of positive facets to this virtuality. Can I be heard?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So, of course, the virtual world in its technological, what should I say, super excellence allows us to connect whichever way. I do not really think that if I have a cup of tea with Dr. Anand sitting in his lounge, that I would think would be more of a spiritual connect than through this gadget, because I believe, all of us I think believe, that Buddha taught about the middle path of life, the balance. Now, what I see as a university professor, and I think all academicians here would agree with me, the scholars also across the globe, I find that somewhere we are stressing the technology as essential knowledge. I would just like to say, it's my take that technology is a facilitator, a kind of a telescoping into knowledge, than rather being the hub and the essence of knowledge per se. Because enlightenment, in a real sense, of course, means, in today's vocabulary, earlier we would know only about the IQ, the intelligence quotient, but today we speak about the SQ, which is also the spiritual quotient, and also the EQ, which is also the emotional quotient. And I think it's the amalgamation of our entire, what should I say, our sensorial, our spiritual, our real life experiences that make up this whole world of literature and poetry. And I'm sorry to say that somehow vocational training, professional skills, the urge to have affluent livelihoods rather than make good lives has overtaken our materialistic culture. And we have to somehow, the global scholars, the writers, the poets, somehow we have to make this exciting poetic revolution, which Dr. Anand has envisaged so capably. We are in exciting times. We are, as he said, between a kind of a bridge between the past and the present. We are building bridges through poetry, but people must understand that poetry is really not for sale in that sense, that it is, whether it's not a world of profit and loss in that sense, and that we have to get above the world of profit and loss. We are not going to just make robos. We have to make complete human beings. And that's where our ancient universities, our ancient sage poets, our Vedic and Upanishadic poets come in. I mean, we have this Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, which says, Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Brahma, which does not, it's not really egoistic. It is about the realization of that cosmic consciousness which is well within us, well ensconced, entrenched within us, and somehow we are losing it. I feel that there is also a depredation, there is a degradation of our civilizational process. I feel it that way. And I think this exciting uh, revolution, if I can call this mega project a kind of a poetic revolution, then we can say that with W.B. Yeats, we always go back to our masters in the past and looking to the future. As he said in his Sailing to Byzantium, let us go into the world of immortality, in his words, gather us into the artifice of eternity. Now, artifice here is not used in the negative sense. It is used in the positive sense about the immortality of the arts. And the other axiom which I would like to share is our own Indian axiom, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. And aesthetics is a part of Satya, truth, of Sundaram, which is beauty, and godhood, divinity. So if we can make this amalgamation happen, it cannot just be so positively technological. So I think we have to have the emotional feeling intellect of Wordsworth's sublime to hear, be able to hear that still sad music of humanity, which Wordsworth envisaged. Now, we are not in the romantic age. We are not romantics in that sense, but still we are emotional people. If the poet who writes today, another thing which I want to share is poets of the 21st century, they are writing poetry not so much within the arc of the emotional chord and the spiritual chord, the arc of poetry, but something which becomes very cerebral, and the more unintelligible it becomes, the more, I mean, the higher you're rated as a poet. Something which is like a cerebral, nonsensical unintelligibility. If you can arrive at that, I'm sorry to say, many poets are writing that kind of poetry which does not resonate with the chords of the human heart at all. So I don't think genuine, authentic poetry is about that. It is definitely about the art of poetry and the craft of poetry. But the craftsmanship cannot overtake the artistry, the emotional, spiritual, cosmic consciousness. The craftsmanship cannot do that. So that is one which I want to share. And I want to finish off with the wonderful lines of William Blake. Well, one, of course, is Satyam Shivam Sundaram, where Keats says, beauty is truth and truth beauty. That is all you know on earth, and that is all you need to know. So we can build these bridges. And the last lines are, as poets, we can sort of mobilize this revolution, this dynamic poetic revolution, as I call it. And kudos to Dr. J. Singh for sort of mobilizing this dynamic, exciting poetic revolution. So I would like to end with Blake's famous lines, if we can see a world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wild flower, to hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour, I think then we will really become the successful poets that we need to become, to energize the whole world, so that we do not make robos, but we make human beings, complete whole human beings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was indeed another perspective. And I think conferences are about perspectives. We can all put forth our perspectives, how we feel, how we experience, and how we want it to be. And I would like to conclude this comment of yours with another quote by Maya Angelou, who says, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So feeling in our generation for the people and poets of our generation is a big thing. We give it the priority, and we give it a massive importance as to how we feel for the world, for And that is where poetry comes out of us. Maybe we're not poets at all times, but when it comes to emotion in relation to the pain of the world, I think that is when poetry comes out. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I could see, yes, I could see our guest here, Dr. Basudev, sir. The Dr. Basudev Chakrabarti has joined us again. Can you hear me, sir? Yeah, we would like you to speak a bit on this book because you're familiar with the entire concept and you have been associated with Dr. Anand's work for a long, long time. Dr. Basudev is not unknown to anybody. He has been a former professor of English and faculty dean of the University of Kalani, West Bengal. And after retirement, he joined the University of Sikkim at Gangtok. And he has done a number of workshops and courses for postgraduate students in foreign universities in USA. And I welcome you, sir. His 7 books have been published in various literary subjects and more than 100 articles, and he has a command over many literary topics and themes. I welcome you, sir, and I invite you for a short speech. Dr. Basudev Chakrabarti.
Dr. Basudev. Yes, sir, I have unmuted you.
Dr. Basudev, sir, please unmute yourself. Can we have a few words from your side? Basudev, sir? Yeah, please unmute yourself.
Well, visible.
Trying, maybe the button is not visible to him.
Yes, sir, you are unmuted, Dr. Basudev. I think he's plugging in his earphones. Good evening, sir, Dr. Basudev. Praneet ma'am, he is unmuted, but I think he's also waiting, but not able to respond maybe.
Basudev, sir, can you hear me?
I'll pin his video here so that he can see. Yes. Praneet ma'am, is sir's video visible?
Yeah, I can see him in the inset box. Maybe he wants it full screen.
Ma'am, we have put the speaker's view and he should be visible.
Basudev, sir, am I audible? Can we have a raised hand from your side, sir? Okay, I think we can talk to him.
Yes, on phone, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, let's proceed. Can I request our internationally acknowledged poet, Mr. Bhagirath Chaudhary, sir? We have you with us. I welcome you to this conference. Let me introduce you, sir.
Yes.
You are an internationally acknowledged writer, philanthropist, social activist, a global activist. And so he works relentlessly for global peacemaking, universal empathy, welfare, unity of humankind. And he is the founder of Global Literary Society, which has more than 8,100 members in 102 countries over the world. He is also a jury member for several international prizes and contests, and admin of International Higher Academic Council of English Literature. He is the recipient of several awards and honors and prestigious honors. Sir, I'm glad we have you with us today. Could I request you to speak a few words on this book and on the scene of literature as a whole?
Dr. Praneet Jaggi. Can you see me?
Yes, you're visible and
Yes,
audible.
sir.
Yes, you are audible, sir. Audible. Please carry
And
on.
visible also.
Thank you very much. First of all, good evening to all the literary luminaries from around the world. I'm deeply grateful to Dr. Jernail Singh ji to give me an opportunity to contribute my views and vision to the 21st Century Critical Thought, Volume 1. First of all, I would like to say hello to everyone. My deep respect to Chief Guest of Honor, Dr. Vasudev Chakrabarti, Guest of Honor, Principal Surinder Lalji, Guest of Honor Maya Harman, and other dignitaries, Mr. Arindam Roy, Dr. Lakshmi Sri Banerjee, Ale Capera Manila from Philippines, Dr. Lalit Morsarma, Dr. Swaraj Raj.
Yeah, problem I can't hear. I don't hear anybody. I can see. Hello. I can see.
Can you hear me?
Hello. I can see.
Hello?
Hello, sir. Hello.
Bhagirath sir, please continue.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Jernail Singh has done a great service to the world literature. His 21st century critical thought is indeed a pathfinder for the future literary luminaries to seek unity of global human thought for a better world. Beyond the boundaries of class, color, caste, race, region, religion, and nations. This evolutionary mandate of 21st century requires the humanity must evolve from self-consciousness of a Homo sapien to planetary consciousness of global human family of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. And therefore, the planetary consciousness must evolve into cosmic consciousness of a Homo Deus, a divine human being. We know that self-consciousness of a Homo sapien is based upon ego identity, where a man identifies himself with caste, color, race, region, religion, and nations. This creates a prison of limited consciousness of a pygmy self, which needs to be broken open by applying his heart and mind to a greater being with care, concern, and commitment to the planetary well-being and global human family. As one earth family, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. I quote Mahopanishad, where it says the great words of wisdom and says, everyone and every ordinary person says, this is my family and that is my family. But the magnanimous says, the whole earth is my family. Again, I want to recall Dr. Lakshmi Sri Banerjee when she says, Aham Brahmasi. This is the recognition of cosmic consciousness where a yogi says, I am the whole universe. Now this great statement and the proclamation of the great yogi saying Aham Brahmasi is also a great acknowledgement of cosmic responsibility of a human being. We have to evolve from self-consciousness to the planetary consciousness of a responsible earth citizen. We cannot jump the steps. We have to go progressively from self-consciousness to the planetary consciousness of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. And then thereafter, applying the universal empathy, unconditional love, and compassion, we could go to the cosmic consciousness of Aham Brahmasi. Also, I would like to quote Bhagavad Gita, where it says, Krishna says, Atmavat sarva bhutesu ye pashati sa pandita. When a yogi sees himself in all the sentient beings and all the sentient beings within himself, then he is truly educated. And that is the humanity's goal for 21st century. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'm very, very grateful to Dr. Jernail Singh to give me this chance. And everybody. Thank you very much for your
Thanks,
patience. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Let us try to call
You
that.
had- yeah. Thank you, sir. This was Mr. Bhagirath Chaudhary with his lofty ideas, and I'm here reminded of this quotation by Jerzy Kosinski, who says, "The principle of true art is not to portray, but to evoke." So this is what he was telling us, that evoking the universal emotions like empathy and compassion is more significant than any other function that art is doing. Thank you so much for being with us, sir. May I now request Madam Addy from Australia? She's joined us. It's a pleasure having you, ma'am. Madam Addy Caparas Manila. May I request you, ma'am, to join us with your views on the book and literature.
Ma'am, I'm trying to unmute. Ma'am.
Okay, let me introduce you to
Yes,
Madam.
ma'am, she has been unmuted.
Madam Addy, we all know.
Yeah, good evening or
Yeah,
good morning from Sydney. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear?
Yeah, you're audible, ma'am. Thank you for being here.
Because I could hardly hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll get closer, be louder. Am I now audible, ma'am?
Hi. Well, lovely to see everyone. And
okay, let me introduce you, ma'am.
I should be in
You are a poet, a designer, artist, author, and your metaphysical poetries flare in such nebulous glow of sensuous ambiguities that have earned you various international literary awards and trophies. We welcome you to this second conference of word literature, and we would like to hear something from you, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I could hardly hear the voices.
Ma'am, but we can hear you, please.
My volume here is so high already, but still it's too vague. I could hardly hear you.
Kiran, ma'am, can you convey
anyway, if you want me to talk, I will start
Yes,
talking.
ma'am. Addy, ma'am, we can hear you loud and clear, and so nice to see you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Continue.
It's also beautiful to see you all. Well, actually now I should be in my deep dreams. But anyway, I won't be talking much. What I want to say is that literature is the language of thought, and poetry is a language of thoughts as well. But let's face it, when we start to write poems, because I love it, I just want to express myself. But actually, as we go further and we find ourselves really writing well, we expect some awards, some praises, and eventually we want to succeed and maybe be one of like Louis Glück to win the Nobel Prize. But it takes a long time to really reach that stage. We have to be equipped with much weapon and armor to have the foundation to reach that goal. And that is in poetry. We have to be well versed on grammar. That is very important. The tenses especially, because there are, although we know that there is only past, present, and future, actually there are more segments of tenses. So as we change tenses of our language, it gives different meaning. And that's how the ambiguousness is created. The more ambiguous your poetry, the more interesting it is.
Yeah.
If it is too how do you say that, explicit, you explain everything, it becomes boring. So you have to create a language that is so pleasurable to hear, pleasurable to read, and it gives the mind of the reader, some moments to read it again, think about it, read it again, think about it. That's how you succeed as a poet. Well, by nature, we all want success. So if you feel that you have to master grammar. And I'm one of the victims. I don't really master it because I don't draft my poetry. I just write, and maybe after posting it, that's when I review it, I edit, and that's it, which is wrong. Actually, at first, the first instinct is the best instinct. The first thoughts is the best thoughts. But then you read it again, improve the grammar, and then see how you can make the words pleasurable. That is very important. It should give pleasure. Because poetry started as a vocal, as a pleasure for the kings and gods of the ancient times. Now, we are not pleasing any gods, we are pleasing the readers. And the readers comes from all segment of society. So that's all that I can say. Grammar is the most important. After that, it's the practice and how imaginative you are in mixing all the vocabulary. You can mix kitchen vocabulary, medical vocabulary, and all that. We are so free as poets. We are so free to invent words, to say anything, but it must always be pleasurable. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So this was Ma'am Adi Kapara Manila from Australia. Now again, I would repeat my statement that conferences are about perspectives. So we have different people with different perspectives, and here, ma'am has kind of taken a crafty perspective of writing poetry as to how intuition, style, craft, practice, all these things play an important role in writing of poetry and expressing oneself. Thank you, ma'am, again for being with us today. Dr. Anand, with your permission, do we move to the next book release, sir?
Please talk to Dr. Vasudev. I think he is in a position to talk.
I can't see him right now on the screen, so I just...
Vasudev? Hello?
He is unmuted, but his video is not visible now. But he might be able to...
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, he's speaking.
Hello? Could I speak now? Could I speak now? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Hello?
You are audible.
Muted himself again, actually. I have unmuted him. Yes.
Dr. Mukesh, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sir, again, he has put himself on. No.
Now we can see you. Mukeshji, please let him talk.
Definitely, right? Definitely. But again, he
Muted himself, no, sir?
That is a problematic.
Earlier also it happened. Yes.
Hello?
Hello, Doctor.
Listen to me.
yes, sir. Now it's audible, sir. Please speak up.
Please go ahead.
Dr.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay, let me start.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm very happy to present on this occasion of the release of a seminal book on critical thought written by Dr. Desanand, the title of which is 21st Century Critical Thought. The moment I saw the manuscript of this book, I was taken aback to see something original, novel, is because the narrative is unique in a sense. First of all, there are many narrators. Let's refer to one of the novels written by M. Bronte with heights. There are certain narrators. And here, in this book, critical thought, there are multiple narrators. When Kiran presents question to some persons, he is a narrator. And the writer writes the answer to what asked, he is a narrator. So, from the point of view of narrator, the book is unique. It is not a creative technique, it is based upon epistolary method. The first epistolary method employed by an English novelist, Samuel Richardson, is Pamela, Mary Frankenstein, Mary Shelley, and another Oxford novel written by Jane Austen, Le Susan. These three are primarily considered to be the novel based on epistolary methods. And for the first time in life, I have seen such a critical book on literary criticism. The title theme of this book is what poetry is, what literature is, how poetry relates to society, whether society impacts literature, or literature impacts society. Is there a plan for some countries in the world to defund the part of teaching, the part of literature? For example, I've heard questions, and those questions are very thoughtful, very much eye-arresting, and they are interesting. I was really taken aback when I read these questions and start writing answers because the very basic things of literature. For example, the first question, impact, whether literature impacts society, or do you think both are interactive? Yes, both interactive. Literature and the readers, poetry and the readers, they are inseparably related. You cannot segregate them. Every poet has a target audience. Every writer has a target audience. They interact in a way or other. So, in my opinion, this book 21st century critic thought, written by Dr. Jernail, is I'm going to say epoch-making or a book of far-reaching importance. What I want to tell you, this book is original in its writing, in its form, in its content. This much I can tell about this book, and this will help not only the graduate students of our universities, postgraduate students of our universities, but also researchers and another important and that is creative writers. You will be familiar, young creative writers who have started writing. Those who have started writing will benefit much once they go through the book. I'm going to many publish of this. No, not at all. Not all. I am not taking any publicity of this book. What I tell is that the platform, the students will be benefited. Creative, young creative writers, those who are start writing, they will be benefited. What I read, questions and answers. Thank you very much for your kind hearing to what I've said. Once again, I thank you all with God. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That was indeed kind of you. In spite of that shaky network, you've shared your views with us so generously. Thank you for being there, always for our conferences. Moving on to the release of the next book. Our next book is The Plague, The Metaphor is Dead. I would like to quote here the Israeli novelist David Grossman. He once said that the most epic dramas of our lives are not in public deeds. They are in the most intimate spheres. So not the sphere of the great public deeds is what unleashes the full range of human emotions and exposes the elusive quest for self-mastery. Now, in modernity and postmodern literature, there is a peculiar burden that the sphere of family and intimacy carry with us. So at this juncture, at this time, love and meaning are constructed. And we find this kind of an essence of the existential questions of love, life, intimacy, family, and as Madam Banerjee also said, the degeneration of our emotional and the sentimental and the spiritual quotient. All this has been talked about in this epical book, The Plague, for which I invite, for the release of The Plague, The Metaphor is There, I invite our guest of honor, Principal Surinder Lalji. I think he's there with us. He had joined us.
Praneeth, you can invite Dr. Lalit also to show up the book. The book can.
I would invite Dr. Lalit Mohan Sharma ji, Dr. Swaraj Raj ji,
to show up the book,
and Dr. J.S. Anand himself to form
It's an excellent book.
and display
I've read his
his
book.
hands. Dr. Anand is displaying his hands. Dr. Lalit Mohan
I've read
Sharma
the book.
has a copy of the book. Dr. Swaraj Raj,
The
sir,
metaphor is dead.
I can see him on the screen displaying the book. Congratulations,
It's an
sir,
excellent.
on the formal release of the book, The Plague, The Metaphor is Dead. Now we have with us Professor Principal Surinder Lalji, who was a former president, M.M. Modi College, Patiala. I would like to invite him for his address. He is a science postgraduate, a gold medalist in physics, and he has served in several colleges in Haryana, Ambala, and even in Patiala, Punjab. Now he's a full-time author. He has written several books in physics. His books have also been prescribed in the universities of India. And among his literary works, I would like to name a few. He is the writer of novels We Shall Dance Again, Love Never Fails, Soulmates, and another novel is awaiting publication. We have a collection of poems by him of devil, man, God, and love, and also a collection of short stories, which is almost near completion. He is the recipient of several honors like Rashtriya Gaurav Award, Distinguished Author Award, Best Personality of India Award, Jewel of India Award, and so on and so forth. I welcome you, sir, Surinder Lalji, who has been generous enough to have given so much time for this conference. I welcome you, sir, and I invite you for a brief address with your ideas.
Thank you very much, madam. I am really lucky. I am audible, please. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Perfectly fine.
Yes, sir, you are.
I am extremely lucky to be a part of this August gathering. The people who are masters in literature, though I may be an elder brother to Dr. Jernail Sir, but he has attained literary heights to which we feel, at least I feel, a pygmy. But I must congratulate Dr. J.S. Anand that he has written 70 books. I too have written books in physics, but that mostly a science subject. If I apply simple mathematics, one book a year, Dr. Jernail Sir should have taken at least 70 years to write these books. But he has done in 65 years. I think probably 5 books he brought along with his birth. And then he wrote one book each year while passing through nursery, primary, school, college, then principalship. I think even when he was not well also, he was writing. I think hats off to his brilliance and his, I don't have words to describe that how one can accomplish such a huge volume of work. And I was listening to the people who are well versed in literature. I don't have any claim to know much of literature. They were full of praise for him. But being a principal of a college and writing a book, I know it's very difficult because I too have been a principal for a long time. I wish he continues writing like this for many more years to come. I was very much impressed by Dr. Indam Roy and Dr. Banerjee when they talked of technology and science. Though they have brought us closer, but we have gone away from each other. But even then, why shouldn't we thank technology? Because in these times of pandemic, we are still meeting, though it's a virtual meet, but may add to the knowledge of my friends. Then in physics, we don't mean the virtual the way you mean in literature. By virtual, we mean more than real. For example, at this time, your lights are on, and the current coming in your house is 5 ampere. We call this current as virtual current. It is this virtual current which gives you a shock, you know. If anybody who is not well aware of the fact that I tell him that this current is 5 ampere and is virtual, and if he touches, he will come to know by experience that ignorance is not a bliss. It will give him a shock. Then Dr. Jernail Sir was with me for a few minutes last night. I asked him, what is the book that you have written about? He told me that knowing intelligence is not enough. To be able to have an intuition or to be able to have imagination is far more important. I may not be able to speak on literature, but I can give you some point about physics. That all this talk that we are having at the moment is by sheer imagination which a scientist have of a concept called whole, H-O-L-E. Now, what is a whole? Whole is a vacant place. Now, anybody who is not conversant with the laws of physics will say that what can a whole do? My dear friends, it is the whole which is a concept which was laughed at, ridiculed, and everything. It is this whole that's making us become W-H-O-L-E whole in this meeting. Then I can tell you that people are unnecessarily saying that technology and science and literature, they're at loggerheads. Not so. Not really so. Rather, it's they are both helping each other. For example, the great famous, but only thing is the very fact that we must have the imagination is very important. I can tell you an idea. Once Einstein fell sick, and in the hospital he was there. The nurse asked, "The sir, when you get well, do me a favor." He asked, "What can I do for you?" He said, "I will come and visit your laboratory." He said, "Why you come to my laboratory? I can show you right now." He said, "How?" He took his coat and he had a few chewed pencils. And he said, "This is my laboratory." And then where from his theory of relativity came? He was playing on violin with a bow and the string, all the strings, they just vibrated. And he was in a boat. From there, he thought of the relativity. And now I tell you that relativity ultimately culminated into the manufacture of the atom bomb. When Eisenhower, the president of US, the bomb ultimately exploded on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Einstein said with relativity. But I tell you, the knife which can kill also. That's what happens with technology. Many more things, intuition, imagination is far more important than any other thing. Intellect is almost dwarf. Intellect is nothing if you have no imagination. For example, there's a scientist in our chemistry, he's known as Kekulé. He was going in a bus, in a London bus, and he saw a snake putting his tail in his mouth. From there, he gave such a revolutionary idea that I may add, many of us may be knowing a bit of science. We people can't see, and all of us say, we can't see atoms. But my dear, he has seen atoms within the atom, the proton within the atom, the electron, he has seen everything. So I in fact want to say that intuition and imagination, they're very, very important. But I tell you, imagination has no extent. It must go beyond infinity. But infinity can be achieved only by a person of the caliber of Ramanujan. Ramanujan, what if you ever have a time, please read his biography. Ramanujan says that I have done nothing. Devi would come to my dream, his hands would move on screen, I would note what she writes, and when I get up in the morning, I will form an equation. And we add for my friends a very important thing, that whatever Ramanujan did with his 4 notebooks, one line and then the second line, to come from one line to the second line, people spend 5 to 10 years. And if they succeed in interpreting that how do we attain second line to the first, they get a PhD. Then many more scientists. Sometimes imagination has to be done in a very, strange manner also. For example, nobody knew what gravity is till an apple fell on Newton's head and it started triggering his imagination, and he embarked upon the idea of such a beautiful thing called gravity, without which nothing would have been possible. So I only mean to say that if you can't imagine, if we can't know what lies beyond this, and we keep on doing things, possibly a very good idea may turn out to be something which is, for example, now you see this media and all that. It's meant for the way we are doing, the way we are meeting. We are trying to make this pandemic time a really enjoyable time, but it has been being misused also. So well, this is in our hands, what we can do and what we cannot, but we cannot, abuse, or we cannot curse technology. There are many more things I can say about this time. For example, if you ever have heard about scientist Stephen Hawking, he is the man who says, I don't believe in something like that, God and all that. He says everything in life happens by accident. The reason is that man was completely paralyzed. He could move his eyes and he has been able to do things which a person with a normal, superhuman intelligence cannot do. Times to come, people will say that he may be the biggest ever scientist born on earth, may even surpass Newton. So I just don't take much of your time. It was a blessing for me this evening in this pandemic time when my friends ring me up and say, Sundarlal, tell us something. We are feeling lonely. We are feeling sad. All people who are above 70, they are holed up in their houses. They are feeling lonely, talking, discussing things. And I was really very much happy to have listened to Madam Banerjee, the way she spoke about Satyam, Shivam, Sundram and all that. And this is what we physics people believe in also. For example, Dr. Jas Kohli might also be sitting here. What is he to everybody? He may be a doctor, but for me, he is a doctor with an imagination. The moment you see the face of a person, he imagines that what I'm going to do with it, how I'm going to make it more beautiful, more acceptable, because beauty is what is closer to God. So I ultimately, at the end, thank Dr. Jernail Sir and wish him good health, and may he continue uh, uh, hosting such events, maybe one in Brenda last year and one this year now. Uh, it's a human effort, and the team of Mr. Mukesh Grover and all, everybody and his family, they've done a wonderful job. We have brought us all together in this virtual platform. And I may tell you, this virtual platform is more than real, in the sense that anybody can go out, anybody can talk with his children, with his wife, and then come back. Had we been in a hall, we would have to be excused. So this virtual world is much more real as a 5 ampere current, which gives more shock. So this has given us more player than what it has given us when we were in Brenda. So thank you very much, Dr. Jernail Sir, and may God bless you. Many more years of production. May you keep on writing, may your pen flourish, and may your pen keep alive the way he said in the Tribune. Let your pen keep on moving. Let it write more and more verses. Thank you very much. And thank you to your team also. I can see your daughter-in-law, your Dr. Grover. So all of them are a family. So I did a beautiful dance also. So love to all of them. And may you be all forever blessed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that unique perspective of yours on the connectivity of science, technology, literature, and creation, and the kind of concept you've taken us to, intuition and imagination beyond infinity. This is no doubt a novel idea that has creeped into our conference and which is much, much welcome. Thank you for being there. Thank you for sharing those ideas with us. We are so delighted.
Thank you very much, Madam Praneeth. You are hosting very well, and your job is too tough. Being a host and keeping everybody connected, and that too virtually, is a great job. And
your
my blessing to you.
Virtual and real have really enlightened me as a person, because virtual has
Exactly.
been placed on top of the real. So I'm really glad I'm at home and hosting a
May
conference.
I add one thing? When we start teaching physics, we say virtual means by virtue of. You are there here by virtue of your virtues. So that's what virtual doesn't mean knuckly as people say. Virtual is more than real. More than real for me, because we're at a pleasant time in this pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I treat this concept of virtual and real as a jewel in this conference, because I was also feeling a little, restricted and restrained as to virtual doesn't seem so enthusiastic and so exciting. Now I am. Thank you for being there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
We proceed to our next main speaker of this session, and he is not unknown to us. He is very well known in the literary circles for his love of sharing his ideas on English literature and language. We have with us, right on screen, I could see his face, Dr. Lalit Mohan Sharma. I hope he's still there with us. Dr. Lalit Mohan retired from the Department of Education as teacher and principal in several government colleges at Dharamsala and Hamirpur, and also director, HPU Regional Center, Dharamsala. He is a writer with several published anthologies and books. He was conferred with several awards, and he also has a book of Hindi poetry, Ek Roti Ugate Sawal, with his friend. This was co-authored. And his books of English poetry are well admired, critiqued, and his latest book of poems, Eyes of Silence, was released this year only. So, do we have you, sir, Dr. Lalit Mohan Sharma? Can we unmute you,
Hello.
sir? Yeah, we can
Yeah.
see him on the
Hello.
screen. He's there, all
Yeah.
ready
Am I?
and all set. So we would like to have your ideas and share your views on the screen.
Do I get in?
Yeah, audible,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir, you're audible.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you,
Audible.
Dr. Jernail,
Yeah.
Professor Jernail Singh ji and Professor Parneet. Grateful to you both and everybody around here. And on this day, when I last year met Professor Mr. Bhagirath, I told him that he reminded me with his crown of white hair of Derrida. So, of course, he took it as a compliment, and he continues to have the same compliment because he still has the looks of a Derrida with his all white crown hair. Rightly, this book was introduced, was published only in August, and Dr. Jernail wrote a foreword for it. But his writing a foreword and my writing a foreword for this book of plague, it's more a give and accept thing than give and take. Because like Mr. Jernail Singh, I also believe that I can follow academic honesty and integrity. So this book that Mr. Jernail has written is a remarkably credible and creative inquisition of times we are living in. And I'll, of course, read from the written things because that makes it very smooth and easier to express than my trying to collate and collect my thoughts on the book as such. And I hope that I have the 10 minutes to speak as
Yes,
Dr. Janal, assured me. So I'll begin with that. And I hope you appreciate the detailed observations on the book. In the dying of a metaphor, language can facilitate for man to decipher the similitude of existential conundrums resolved in an utterance on conflicted times and the relevance of man's failures, rediscovering hope and meaning in life. Dr. Anand's epic drama takes the reader to the sovereign state of Retalia as ruled by Cosmo, Oblivious is his son, Nervia his daughter. She is a very gentle, sensitive consciousness and reminds you of an archetype in such creations as of Ophelia in Hamlet. In addition to them, the dramatis personae include a score of more speakers like chorus, sage, god, angels, Adam, Eve, Trimurti, commoners, guards, and others. Even as one progresses through the 13 cantos of the very ambitious poem, one becomes subconscious, maybe at a very surface level, of Sophocles connecting the plague with the unnatural deeds of Oedipus in 430 before Common Era, and even of Camus in mid-19th century with the plague in the city of Turan. Am I audible? Am I audible? Yeah, okay. The words of Camus from the plague strike a bell. But what does it mean, the plague? It's life. That's all. The warning in the last lines of King Oedipus to echo that every man in mankind's frailty consider his last day. Let none presume on his good fortune until he find life at his death, a memory without pain. And none can disagree among us with Albert Camus when he says, a loveless world is a dead world. Jernail Singh's epic poem opens with a statutory warning from the king of Italia, with Hope talking to himself. What is this stench? What is this stench? Whose is the body festering in the city? Zero tolerance to any resemblance with real people is forewarned, and also that thinking and dreaming are injurious to health in the kingdom of Italia. Thinking and dreaming are injurious to health. Invocation further expounds on the problematics of a creative person. The scribes think plague is a boon. According to the king, nobody has been killed. Nobody was raped in hearths, as you can say. The official stand is there is no plague. Anyone who calls the plague a plague will be given silentia veti. Such self-confessed inventions one gets to hear several times during the course of journeying through the epic drama. The prologue tells us how the king is allergic to criticism. And his daughter, I must admire Dr. Anand, for fishing out such, tools of conveying the whole truth. Maybe extract characters or other characters or whatever he has invented. They are such embodiments of the contemporary reality. His daughter, sensitive to criticism, to consciousness, to withstand the evil embodied in her father and brother, she jumps to her death. La Ophelia. A passionate invocation ends with a statement how the ground reality is arbitrarily weaponized. The power of the gods or muse now lives not in their astras, but the number of followers who carry axes, aces, clubs, and truckloads of verbal warfare. Truckloads of verbal warfare we confront every day on social media. The first quarter of the century has seen several streams of power push for a change in the globalization narrative. The right-wing flag bearers have raised resentment over denial due to the natives of the liberal attitudes. They have accepted immigrants from every country of the earth. In Canto 1, sage has to say, and it's beautifully said, are you a man or only a patriot? The world needs human beings. The world seems to have reached a stage where nothing is sacrosanct, only plunder. In pandemic, we have heard of a lot of corruption in health, in drugs, and no end to this. Man has failed to create a bridge between creative imagination and imaginative intelligence. These are very good terms used by Dr. Anand. Creative imagination and imaginative intelligence. How can one ignore the elements? How has not man learned from anything, from the pride of Sisyphus, Lear's rashness, or the blind aspirations of and ambitions of a Macbeth or a Faustus? Canto 13, the structure of the epic drama, the seventh canto is like the fulcrum, in which commoners begin to wonder, are we living in a tainted world? Its passions, its possessions, its obsessions all tainted? Is this plague the result of this taint? The plague is centrally positioned, as in the great Theban tragedy, to analyze and lay bare to us where the problem lies. In the next canto, quite intriguingly, one actual person is invoked from freedom struggle of our country. Subhash Chandra Bose. He's addressing the POWs in Europe. Death is certain. My countrymen, question is, how you want to die? But the talk went home and a choice was made as INA was raised to fight the imperialists. The sage further carries the argument which Subhash Bose advanced. This is very good. These are terrific lines. If you heard the feeling of the winds, they'll burn your jungles. If you heard the waters of the rivers, they'll come back seated on tsunamis. Take pity on this earth. It can grow flowers even if the whole human race was to shift under it. Men in villages lived hard lives, but they were sometimes in dialogue with gods, sometimes with animals, often with elements. I'm reminded of a novel by Anizadi, in which a grand old man, he talks to the birds, the morning, the moon in the sky, the clouds, the bushes out there, even as there's a build-up. As the title of the novel is Prelude to a Riot. And he said this novel, Prelude to a Riot, is a great book. It's not just the ecology that is under threat. It is psychology too, between man and man, between man and nature, man and universe, and the universal crying to get heard in his longings and urgent aspirations. Canto 11, the chorus says, I have so much to say. Neither time I have nor words. Look into my silence and read. Look into my silence and read. A whole literary legacy is invoked. Keats to Hamlet, to Chaucer, to Khalil Gibran, Omar Khayyam, to Kabir and Rumi. At the present time, man is vaccinated against humanities, not to read, but to browse these luminaries, nor to win competitions alone. The last canto sage registers faith in man before Babel utters the last word in this plague-stricken world view. Sage says, this is very, very good. I am a stone wrapped in faith, which makes me a deity. I am a stone wrapped in faith, which makes me a deity. I am a thought wrapped in possibilities. I am a thought wrapped in possibilities. This is absolutely great, amazing. Of course, we're content with a fractional wisdom. Life is not so rosy that men should be afraid of hell, nor death is such a terror that they should dream of heavens. The man lifts his head to raise his voice or not, whether he opens his mouth to utter what needs to be asserted. There's a choice of each man has to make in this world. Otherwise, as so tellingly ends the epilogue, even as an epitaph, God says, the last word, hope, O man never dies. And yet, after the horror and trauma, the conflicting socio-political contradictions, the hiatus between human thought and man's thinking processes, the ephemeral flapping of sublime flights in a sensitive nature like Nervia, the name as soft and subtle as an abstraction. There's a touch of the inevitable. Denouement, when the epic ends with such things, such lines, which have an unmistakable rhythm reminiscent of chorus, the rhyme of ancient manner. We listen to these four lines. The mirror weeps to look at me, to see the dread. The mirror weeps to look at me, to see the dread in and around, and my being spread to see the metaphor dead. In the opening remarks, I did mention that the poem is very ambitious. Yes, the book is set to become, and must I say, all of us will discover the book is as promising, as attractive as a rainbow after the rains pours into a poise, having poured down the fury. That we find it as promising when we read it, and as attractive as a rainbow after the rains pours into a poise, having poured down the fury. So it's not just all anger and rage. There's also flickering lights, the dawn of silver that we can notice in this very good point, really. It's a pleasure to read and share my observations with you. Thank you very much. Pandit?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I have known your critical eye, and we could not find a more meticulous critique on a book of Dr. Anand. And I'm sure Dr. Anand himself must have been overwhelmed listening to his own poetry through your perspective and critical eye. Because the kind of eye for detail you possess, I've seen that, and it's rare. Thank you so much for being such a gracious critic among us. Thank you, sir. Let me now invite and request another esteemed guest and scholar who's with us, Dr. Swaraj Raj. I can see him on the screen. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Swaraj Raj is a former professor and head PG Department of English, Government Mahindra College, Patiala, and also a professor and head Department of English and Dean Faculty of Languages at Sri Guru Granth Sahib World University, Fatehgarh. He is an experienced teacher, and he has published more than 65 articles and papers, and also done translation work. His articles in newspapers, in journals, his extension lectures. He is a well-known person in our area. And we've also seen him associated with several journals like the Indo-Canadian Journal of Art and Culture Ensemble, and also Literary Voice, where he is a consultant for UGC Journal Literary Voice. So I welcome you, sir, and I invite you for a brief session of an exchange of ideas from your side. And I also welcome all the other guests who have joined once again or who are joining for the first time now. I can see Sir George Onzi, and I can see Sir Raj Babu Gandham joining again. All the poets, writers, creative artists, listeners, viewers, I welcome you all once again. And I request Dr. Swaraj Raj to please speak.
Thank you, Dr. Praneeth. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Very much.
Okay.
Very clear.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am, first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. Anand for inviting me to this opportunity to speak on his epic, The Plague, the Metaphor of the Dead. Metaphor is Dead. I received the book today only, but I got the PDF copy early in the morning, and since then I have been reading it, and I have gone through almost the whole of it by this evening. It is more than gratifying to be a part of this wonderful academic gathering. Keeping in mind the time constraints, I will skip all ritual fatigue preliminaries and come straight to the point. The relevance of a book has to be measured in terms of its topical and universal appeal. Generally, in endeavoring to be relevant to concerns topical, an author tends to become less universal and vice versa. Contrariwise, Dr. Anand, whom I often call a poet of contradictions and contraries, and has a huge reading public in India and abroad, has reconciled the topical or the singular with the universal in the present text, which will find resonances in the minds of readers drawn from many cultures and nationalities. I'm sure about it. The text, The Plague, operates at many levels. Dr. Lalit Mohan Sharma has already talked about how there are so many references to past poets, Indian authors, Western poets, and all that. So in this sense, it is a truly intertextual text. Apparently written in the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, the text engages issues of universal significance, which have to do with the very survival of life on the planet Earth. We are living in difficult times. There is no doubt about it. Whatever we might say about all the good things which this pandemic has brought to us, we have gathered here in virtual space because of this pandemic. But still, the fact is that we are passing through, humanity itself is passing through very difficult times for various reasons. This COVID thing has stripped us of all our certainties in a way we are already living without many certainties. We were already living without many certainties, as Dr. Anand himself says so in so many uncertain terms. He refers to Nietzsche and also about postmodernism's radical denunciation of all certainties. And at one place in this book, he writes, where was the need to develop the world in the denial mode? Denying heavens, denying gods, denying goodness, denying Christ, denying death. The denial mode, for which many reasons can be assigned to several factors, is actually a comment on the uncertainties which we have inherited and which have been aggravated now by the ontological insecurities engendered by an enemy, a virus. We need an electron microscope to see. Pitted against the might of infinitesimally minute virus, our hubris has taken a bad blow. Our ego has taken a bad blow, exposing to us our own feet of clay. The situation has been worsened by the post-truth world which we inhabit today, a world in which untruths are peddled with such conviction and regularity that untruths have now become truths. The untruths of techno-utopia, of man playing God through genetic modulation of species, the untruths of a mechanistic, bureaucratic, and technocratic democracy that seeks to reduce everyone to Auden's unknown citizen, a number on a card, and everyone who dies of the pandemic is simply a dot on an official graph. Surrounded in the midst of these untruths, it is difficult to see anything. This is why in the invocation itself, Dr. Anand seeks the power of the blind prophet Tiresias. O muse, lend me Tiresias, the blind prophet of Thebes, who possesses the power to look into the mist of centuries back and forth, and also the audacity to tell a king that he is the miasma, responsible for the moral degeneration. Paradoxically enough, and this is why I say that Dr. Anand is a poet of contradictions and contraries. Paradoxically enough, only a blind prophet can see and survive in these times. Nervia, who can see and think, the qualities that make us human, but are forbidden by the miasmic king of Italia, cannot bear too much reality. Nervia cannot bear too much reality and jumps to her death. Hope, another character who can smell the stench of death, physical as well as moral and spiritual, who dies in the text. The overwhelming impression that the text gives me, to me at least, is of human hubris being the undoing of humankind. I'm reading a few lines from the text. Men in their rashness pushed forward and ejected nature from human systems. Insects, birds, animals, crocodiles, everything was turned into meat and lapped away. Was it possible to hear the cries of rabbits and small birds when they were roasted alive? On their dead bodies fed this proud race of man. It is overwhelming anthropocentrism that Anand mourns and points towards a path of compassion and karuna. However, while he debunks the anthropocentric and mechanistic worldview, he is not oblivious of how the present COVID pandemic has been used by the powers that be to consolidate their authority by arousing all kinds of existential fears. We have entered, as it were, a state of exception, as Giorgio Agamben would say. Now, a state of exception, according to Agamben, is a state when all freedoms, all rights of the citizens are suspended by a state. We have been stripped of our basic human rights, the right to raise questions and our solidarity rights. The masked man in Anand's text says it all. You have stopped me from talking. You have stopped me from thinking. You call this world a world of freedom? Where is liberty? You have forced me to think in a uniform way live in a uniform style. Now you have given me a mask to wear. Everyone is looking the same. Is uniformation your agenda? The character, hope, dies. But is hope dead? Dr. Lalit Mohan also referred to it. I don't think that hope is dead. If hope is dead, then we are also dead. No, hope is not dead. The text ends with these words of God's at the death of hope. Cremate him with divine honors. In the face of men, it flies. Hope keeps you alive. Hope, O men, never dies. Now, this text reminds me of a beautiful short poem by Bertolt Brecht titled Motto. Somehow, I'm a great fan of Bertolt Brecht also, and he is one of the greatest poets of resistance and protest. In the dark times, it's a very short poem, this is how it goes. In the dark times, will there also be singing? Yes, there will be singing about the dark times. Now, this text is a song of the dark times. Deeply disturbing, but thought-provoking too. If we can reflect on Anand's reflections from a humanist perspective, not from anthropocentric perspective. If we can reflect on Anand's reflections, musings and meditations, then we can regain our humanity, because animal alone can reflect. Technology cannot, as Brecht again suggests in another poem. And I would quote from that poem also. General, your tank is a powerful vehicle. General, your tank is a powerful vehicle. It smashes down forests and crushes 100 men. But it has one defect. It needs a driver. General, your bomber is powerful. It flies faster than a storm and carries more than an elephant. But it has one defect. It needs a mechanic. General, man is very powerful. He can fly and he can kill. But he has one defect. He can think. Dr. Anand's text ultimately nudges us to take recourse to this defect to save ourselves from extinction, to save ourselves from ourselves, and to save ourselves from extinction of humanity by taking recourse to this defect of thinking. With this, I end, and I really congratulate Dr. Jernail Anand for writing this beautiful book. It is extremely thought-provoking, and since early morning when I started reading it, I have not left it alone. It has been my companion all through the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Swaraj Raj. So glad to have your words here in this conference. And as you said, it was a hasty review. We didn't think it was. We found it an in-depth and detailed analysis of Dr. Anand's book. And while quoting Brecht also and reflecting on Dr. Anand's reflections also, you have kind of again disseminated a ray of hope that yes, poetry like this, reading like this, we could survive, we could revive and regain humanity once again in the world. Thank you for being there as a motivational force, sir. So this was our reflections on the plague. The metaphor is there. Now I invite Dr. Anand once again for the release of the third book, The Reluctant Dawn. And before I invite the guests also, I hope we have Madam Jonas Swinson or
Per Josephson.
Per Josephson. May I request you, sir, Per Josephson, if you are there?
Yeah.
About The Reluctant Dawn, what I feel is poetry itself is binary. Poetry is reluctance, poetry is expression, poetry is the voice, poetry is silence, poetry is the music, poetry is the soundless, poetry is the implied, but it is also the explicit, poetry is the dark, poetry is the dawn. So here we have the reluctant dawn. And we see the antithetical elements and expressions of life find their best place in poetry. And this is one such work. Dr. Anand is there with the book, formally releasing the book, The Reluctant Dawn. It is Dr. Anand's poetry. And I feel it familiarizes the readers with the paradoxical realities of life today. So would you like to speak a few words on this book yourself?
I think we give 4 minutes to Mr. Per Josephson. Let him be here.
I can't see him on the screen, sir. Per
Oh.
Joseph.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sir. I can hear you. You're most welcome to the conference. I hope
Thank you. I wonder just how do I make myself seen?
You are audible, but you have to put on your camera visibility, sir.
Where is the camera? I don't know where the camera is.
It's okay. You can carry on with the audio, sir. If you can find the camera button, you can join in with your
okay.
Start video button.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are welcome, you, sir.
Thank you.
And we are glad to have you here, sir. You are an accomplished writer, translator, and Madam Jonah Swinson is also a writer in English, Arabic, Swedish, German, since she is not well. We please convey our best wishes and our recovery wishes to ma'am. And we are keen on hearing you on this book, The Reluctant Dawn.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to say to Dr. Jernail, thank you ever so much for making this possible for us. So, since my brilliant and intelligent wife, my muse and my life companion, has worked more than overtime, she has been overproductive to create poems. She has created over 140 poems the last month. So she has unfortunately taken ill, but she sends her deepest regards to you all. First of all, I would like to say that this has been so fantastic to do this forward to this magnificent book. We are so astonished and overwhelmed reading Dr. Jernail's poetry. I think it's both classic and astonishing. So, what can I say? In Sweden, poetry has gone down to a little lower level than it was before. We have had, and we still have, great poetic tradition, from classical verse to white poetry. But I believe that setting the mind free with poetry is ever more important now than it ever has been before. So I mean that setting the mind free by releasing it from the daily strife for a moment is very important, and you can find that very much in Dr. Jernail's book, The Reluctant Dawn. I don't know very much more to say than that we are very proud to have been honored to make this forward, write this forward. But I can quote a Swedish poet called Nils Ferlin. And I don't think he has been translated into English ever before. This was written in the 1930s, but it goes, "You have lost your word, your barefoot little child, and you have lost your memory note. So think now before we throw you out, you barefoot little child." Last but not least, I'll send you a picture greetings of us. So I say thank you very much for this audition, and I will say thank you very much to Dr. Jernail. Thank you.
Thanks, my dear friend, and we hope your wife, Jonas Stevenson, she gets healthy faster. Our prayer
Yes.
is that, and thank you for making nice work, reading all the book and writing so beautifully. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you. I look forward to buying the book.
Yeah, no problem. That we will get. All
Okay.
right, sir. So nice of
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Josephson, for being there and representing ma'am and yourself together. We're so glad to have you here. Thanks once again.
Dr. Onsi is there? Do you see Dr.
Pardon?
Onsi?
Yes, I can see Mr. George Onsi here.
If he wants, he can we give him 2-3 minutes. Is it possible?
I invite Mr. George Onsi, sir. We would like to hear something from you. I'm so glad to have Sir George Onsi, sir, here on the screen with us.
He's
Sir,
unmuted. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sir, you're invited to speak something.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be with you.
Hello, welcome.
So happy to be with you today. Thank you very much for the invitation, Dr. Anand, my dear friend. And I would like to be open to your suggestions for any theme that we can discuss fruitfully and constructively. I would start with my poetic relationship with my great friend, Dr. Jernail, because it started with the first book we published. The first book in my life, actually, was suggested by Dr. Anand, as you see. And when he told me that we can do something to conjoin the two cultures, the Egyptian and Indian culture, and it is Voices from Eternity. Voices from Eternity was.
Thank you, George, for remembering. This was
great memory, great memory.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There is problem with his I think, video. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, George, sir, for being there. Thank you for the auspicious presence. We have you here in our conference. Thank you. We now have another delightfully surprising package with us, a bundle of talent, beauty, and creativity, just for a change. I think the beautiful, the talented Hargun with her rocking presentation on screen. So please stay tuned, dear viewers. Stay tuned for Hargun's presentation. Dr. Mukesh Grover to start the screen presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Just about to.
Going to play. Let's have fun today. Let's go. Ready to dance. Me and my friends are ready to dance. I'm alive sunshine. Almost the time you hear my voice. To make noise. Friends, me and my friends are ready to dance. Lighter, lighter, lighter. I'm a lighter, lighter. I'm a lighter on the show. I'm a lighter, lighter. I'm a lighter, lighter. I'm a lighter, lighter. I'm a lighter on the show.
That was simply amazing. I hope we all enjoy it. Kiran ma'am, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. Praneet ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah, so we move on to the next proceeding of our conference, which is the release of our fourth book of World Literature India. We again have a book which is compiled by Dr. J.S. Anand, which is Postmodern Voices, Volume 1 and 2. And in this context, I feel that when poetry today has become an increasingly marginalized genre, we need voices that should stand out for a self-evident luminosity, intelligence, precision, and the power to move, as our scholars and dignitaries already said that. That is the only way I think we can help poetry survive and sustain. So our fourth book, The Postmodern Voices, Volume 1 and 2, is one such attempt by Dr. J.S. Anand to compile the selected poetic voices so that we can revive this poetry genre in the world of English literature. We have this book in the hand of Dr. J.S. Anand, who is formally releasing the book. Congratulations, sir. It is a massive achievement that you have not only written your own poetry, but also given space to so many young voices to express themselves through poetry. So we would like you to speak something about this collection. Dr. J.S. Anand, please unmute yourself, sir. Please unmute yourself, sir.
Yes, sir, you are unmuted.
This is volume. This is volume 1, in which we have Mirzana Serbia from Bosnia, Caroline Tarang from France, Tatiana from Russia, Dr. Maureen from Malaysia, and Prakash Nagarajan. He is from India. These are the 5 poets who have been featured in this book. It is volume 1. And happily, Mirzana is there in the audience. I congratulate her for being here. And I think Prakash Nagarajan is also with us. Congratulations to all of you. And this is volume 2, which features Dr. Jyotsna Sinha, Dr. Sonia Batra. Asma Tahir is there, I think, with the audience. Kaveri Mukherjee is also with us. Rosie Lydia and Revni Chakrabarti. All of you, our young blood, our young hopes, we congratulate you on the release of these books. Thank you very much, ma'am. Praneet, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, I want an information if Maja ma'am has joined us in the conference.
Please check up. I don't think she is around.
Yeah, then could we proceed with the honors and awards? If Maja ma'am is not there because she was the guest of honor for a function.
Yeah, we should go ahead with the honors now.
Yeah, so World Literature India has also initiated in the last conference awarding and honoring the upcoming poets and creative talent of our society. And in this series, this time also World Literature India, under the guardianship of Dr. J.S. Anand, is honoring these budding writers and poets, and also because of their social consciousness. So these upcoming budding poets are Dr. Kiran-The, Dr. Suneet Madan, Professor Mandakini Bhattacharya, and Saranya Francis. I hope we all are here together on the screen. And I would now invite Dr. J.S. Anand once again to start the award ceremony.
Dr. Praneeth, may we start it with you?
Sir, as you wish. I'm a host right now, so I don't expect anything coming towards my side, but I'll be at the dispersing end. So, as you wish.
So let me start with you. I hope I am audible to the audience.
Yes, sir.
My dear friends, five people, five young poets we have chosen. One of them is before you conducting this program, Dr. Praneeth Jaggi. And there are many reasons why she has been chosen. She has been, I'm proud that we are honoring her, our brilliant colleague, Dr. Praneeth, with Master of Creative Impulse Award, which is International Achievement Award in World Literature and Creative Arts. Here is her bio. Dr. Praneeth Jaggi is Associate Professor of English, a bilingual poet, writing in English and Punjabi, editor, critic, and novelist. She has 7 published books to her credit, 4 collections of poems. Beyond Words, Show Me How Not to Grow, Live, Love, Light, and Euphonies of Heart and Soul. Her 2 research books, Matthew Arnold and Bhagavad Gita, a study of his poems, and social and economic values in the teachings of Sikh gurus, reveal her love for religion and philosophy. Her historical fiction, The Call of the Citadel, published in 2020, earned great appreciation. Reviews of her poetry and fiction have been published in reputed journals such as Setu, The Muse, Different Truths, Contemporary Literary Review, India. Her name appears in the directory of writers in America's magazine Poets and Writers. She was declared the Poet of the Year 2019 and Critic of the Year 2019 by Disney Poets, Yorkshire, UK, and won Big Bird Poetry Prize winner 2020 for her Punjabi poem. She is the recipient of Star Ambassador of World Poetry by Philosophic Poetica and Grand Productions Canada. She was honored twice by Rotary International for her contribution in the field of education. She is currently Associate Editor of International Journal of Education and English Literature, Montreal, Canada, and a reviewer of UGC Care Journal. Here is the citation for her. This award is conferred on Dr. Praneeth Jaggi for her extraordinary participation in creative pursuits. Her excellent editorial work for World Poetry Conference, Galaxy International Foundation, and formulating a World Literature India projects is highly appreciable. Apart from this, we feel proud to honor her as a multi-talented author for having come up with a world-class novel, The Call of the Citadel. Congratulations, Dr. Praneeth Jaggi, on behalf of World Literature India and all those assembled here. Please accept this award.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm short of words. I feel privileged, honored, and humbled altogether. I'm short of words for what has been conferred on me. I do not know whether I'm capable or not, but would certainly like to enrich the poetic world with whatever I write. Thank you very much indeed to the organization, World Literature India, and to Sir in particular, Dr. J.S.
Now please go ahead yourself.
We move we proceed to the next awards. And in the second place, I would invite for the honors, I would name Dr. Kiran-Preet Grover, a doctorate in English. She is a bilingual poet writing in English and Punjabi with an extensive teaching experience in college as well as school education. She has also been the recipient of Best Teacher Award twice and Master of Creative Arts in Poetry Conference first. Apart from this, she is also a painter, a YouTuber, where her poetry videos are greatly admired and followed. Kiran-The Ray of Hope. I myself personally admire her channel and her videos. Her flair for art, creativity, spirituality make her a beautiful, complete human being. I congratulate Kiran for this achievement of her personality. And to do the honors, I invite on the screen Dr. J.S. Anand himself, who is her proud father. If we have Mr. Jairam Shashadri, Madam Molly Joseph, Madam Gitanjali, Madam Seema Jain, Madam Renu Gupta, you all are invited to applaud the achievement of Kiran-Preet. I'll read out her citation.
I'll unmute them.
Yeah, I'll read out the citation first and then we'll get the appreciation from our guests. World Literature India confer Master of Creative Impulse International Achievement Award in World Literature and Creative Arts on Dr. Kiran-Preet. This award is conferred on Dr. Kiran-Preet for her extraordinary participation in creative pursuits. Her excellent poetic craft has been widely acclaimed. She writes with equal ease in English as well as her mother tongue Punjabi. Her YouTube channel has a growing number of subscribers and she's also a versatile artist who painted the poems of her father, Dr. Anand. We feel proud to honor Dr. Kiran for her multi-talented role in promoting the cause of poetry. I present my heartiest congratulations to Dr. Kiran and all the guests, applauding her achievement, and Dr. Kiran is invited to present something if she wishes. If she has a presentation or a poetry to recite, she is welcome on screen. Kiran ma'am, please proceed.
First of all, humongous thanks to all the literary elite for this award that has been bestowed upon me. And also, from the core of my heart, I extend a deep gratitude for the love and recognition that young talents are getting on this international platform. And when we are guided by literary giants, really, it's an amazing experience on earth, one of its type, and it really helps us to soar high when we get appreciation and love. So I'm going to share first one more thing I would like to say, that though the season in Punjab is changing, but today I could feel warmth in the air, and that was of the reminiscence of memories, love, togetherness that we had when as a family we joined last year. So I'm having one small video that I want to share with all of you. Please receive the video with love and the memories that I'm going to share.
No sound.
Thank you so much.
Very good.
Liking the video.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Now I'm going to share one of the poems that is very, very close to my heart as a mom, because this is based on a real life incident. Hello friends. This poem is based on a real life incident. Every daughter sees human race in the image of her loving parents. But when she comes face to face with the harsh realities, the balloon of idealism bursts. Yet hope sustains life. So here I present my poem, The Ancient Tear. Whirling along the loving winds, me and Lil were driving home. At a roundabout, a sudden glance took me to a world of blue. Save the girl child. A hoarding tickled her imagination. She opened her lips and asked in a fix the question which beggars all explanations. From whom? She asked with fiery eyes, gazing at her holding. Save the girl child? From whom to save a girl child? She asked. Was this a question to me, a mother or a wife? My eyes downcast, holding my tears, I replied. They don't want girls to survive. As she heard the horrible tale of the girls being killed in the war, she felt how unwanted she was in this world of joy and hope. Even if a girl opens her eyes, the life becomes a burden, however hard she tries. A citizen unaccepted is tortured until she dies. Lynn heard the gory folklore like a stillborn child. She shrank in her being, pricked by thorny revelations, wild. Colors seasoned across her face, and I wonder how she might have reacted to a fate which for many a girl lies in wait. The folk pain swelled in my eyes. Lil saw an ancient tear. We emerge from the clan of pain. Do you hear? Stop, oh mom, the tears in your eyes. So I'm a phoenix, born out of ashes, but I know how to fly and create my own sky. Thank you. हौसला बदला दिया चिट्ठियां.
We should focus only on awards rather than presentation. What do you think? We are running out of time. Parneet?
Right, sir. Right, sir. If we don't have the time to present, we could just speak out our expression in a line or two. Or just present a very selective part of what we want to represent. Thank you, ma'am, Kiran, for being there, so generous with your video. And in the next part, I invite Dr. Suneet Madan, who is going to be the recipient of the next award. Let me introduce her. Dr. Suneet Madan personifies creative diversity Her artworks and creative writing, while questioning the norms of the world, celebrate the essence of life. She's a seasoned professional with PhD from CEPT University, Ahmedabad, and dual master degrees, Masters in Design from IIT Bombay and Masters in Mass Communication from Kurukshetra University. I congratulate Dr. Suneet Madan for this achievement and invite on screen Dr. J.S. Anand, Shri Ravi Ranganathan ji, Shri Raj Babu Gandan ji, Madam Molly Joseph is again there. Mr. Jess Kohli, our novelist, he is also there. I can see Madam Shobha Sharma also. Neetu Sharma ji, Sushminder Jeet ma'am, all of you please join to applaud Dr. Suneet Madan, and I request Dr. J.S. Anand to display the award of Dr. Suneet Madan. And I'll read out the citation. World Literature India confer Master of Creative Impulse International Achievement Award in World Literature and Creative Arts on Dr. Suneet Madan. This award is conferred on Dr. Suneet Madan, who personifies creative diversity. Her artworks and creative writing, while questioning the norms of the world, celebrate the essence of life. Her voracious explorations and creative prowess deftly mold even the most mundane objects into pieces of art. Simplicity in execution is the key standpoint in her work. Well-traveled, her views and realizations on societal and culturally relevant aspects find a broader perspective. Dr. Madan is a doctorate from CEPT University, Ahmedabad, as has already been told. I congratulate Dr. Suneet Madan for this achievement, and I invite her to speak a few words if she wishes to. Dr. Suneet.
Thank you so very much for the words of appreciation. I am actually humbled, humbled beyond words. I am not as much a wordsmith like this August gathering, but yeah, I do let my emotions flow and my thought process work on creating, stringing together the verses. Thank you so much for this honor. Much gratitude. Thank you.
You are welcome. We are very happy to honor you. It is honoring ourselves when we honor persons like you, your depth and breadth, the way you write, computer professionalism, with poetry, and with art. Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Getting to the next honor, I am delighted to present before you Professor Mandakini Bhattacharya. She's from Calcutta and is Associate Professor of English in West Bengal there. She's a multilingual poet composing in English, Hindi, Punjabi, Bengali. She's also a literary critic and a translator. She is a winner of several awards, and she is also involved currently in 2 Sahitya Academy translation projects. She's a woman of multifarious achievements. I congratulate Dr. Mandagini, and I invite to do the honors, I invite on screen Dr. J.S. Anand to display the award. I also invite Mr. Tariq Mohammed, Mr. Joseph, Sijo Joseph, and if we have Mr. Jairam Shashadri, Madam Gitanjali Dilip, Meenakshi Goswami ma'am, if we all have them as guests here, please join in to applaud our award winner Mandakini Bhattacharya. Dr. J.S. Anand to display the award. And the citation goes thus: World Literature India confer Master of Creative Impulse International Achievement Award in World Literature and Creative Arts on Mandakini Bhattacharya. This award is conferred on Professor Mandakini Bhattacharya for her brilliant poetic creation and genuine interest in promotion of literary culture. Her excellent poetic craft has been widely acclaimed. She is also a versatile artist and a keen reviewer of literature feel proud to honor Professor Mandakini Bhattacharya for her multi-talented role in promoting the cause of poetry. Congratulations, Professor Bhattacharya, and I invite you to speak a few words on the mic, please.
Thank you, World Literature India, for this great honor. I am at a loss of words because I'm meeting so many old friends, my seniors here, and it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity meeting all of you. Friedrich Nietzsche had said that poets are shameless with their experiences and they exploit them. Well, I have lived in Punjab, I have studied there, and that is when I learned Gurmukhi and learned how to express myself. So very shortly, I will read a Punjabi poem. This is the 101st anniversary of the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and I wrote this poem to commemorate it. It's called Barood. Barood. सूरज दी लाली हले ही नरम हुई सी साडी यतीमा दी टोली प्यासे उड़ीक दे रूहां नू पानी दा मेहर बख्शती सी मैं अपने आप नू मसीहा जिहा महसूस करिया सी पर दरिंदा दी टोली नू कुछ सिख भाई कुछ गुरखे ते एक अंग्रेज नू जदों अग बरसांदे वेख्या मैं सुन जिहा सुत्ता पिया ते फिर लाशा डिगदा ते फिर लाशा डिगदा होका भरदा जद पज्जा तद समझया कि खूह विच सिर्फ पानी नहीं लाशा भी तरदियां खूह विच सिर्फ पानी नहीं लाशा भी तरदियां 2 दशका दी गल्ला मैं तद उधम सिंह सी अज राम मोहम्मद सिंह आजाद हां तद हंजुआ दा हड़ सी अज ड्वायर दे छाती तो उमड़ दे लहू दा जशन हां फांसी दा होश ते सुतड़े देश नू जगावन दा जोश हां फांसी दा होश ते सुतड़े देश नू जगावन दा जोश हां मावा बुढ़िया बच्चिया दा वहशत हले भी जिंदा है पर अज पानी नहीं खून दा गदर खोलदा है पर अज पानी नहीं खून दा गदर खोलदा है. This is a tribute to Udham Singh. Thank you all so much. Thank you. I'm honored.
Very good. Thank you so much, Mandakini. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mandakini.
Thank you so much.
We move on to the next award winner. We have with us, I can see on the screen, Saranya Francis. She is a multilingual poet, and I'm glad to have her. And I request again Dr. J.S. Anand to display the award. I also invite the other guests who are with us, Hema Ravi ma'am, Poonam Sahai ma'am.
Invite Mirzana also, if she is around. Mirzana.
Yeah, Mirzana ma'am from Bosnia. Can we have you here on the screen applauding this award while I read the citation? World Literature India, confer Master of Creative Impulse and Social Consciousness, International Achievement Award in World Literature and Creative Arts on Saranya Francis. This award is conferred on Saranya Francis, a multilingual poet, English lecturer, life skills trainer, women empowerment activist, and educationist. She has to her credit 3 published anthologies of poetry entitled Being Purple, Ambido, and Sonder. She has co-edited Confluence first and second 2 volumes, an anthology of collaborative poetry. Saranya is the curator of the monthly poetry open mic of Bangalore Poetry Circle and is currently editing the first anthology, Antardata. Apart from poetry, she has assisted the establishment of posh cells and organizations, women's self-help groups, entrepreneurial ventures for women in need, and driven campaigns for child rights while represented the nation as a youth activist in conferences across the world. Saranya Francis is currently an assistant professor of English at St. Paul's College, Bangalore, and also the secretary of the Foundation. I present my hearty wishes and congratulations to you, Saranya Francis, and I invite you to speak a little bit about yourself. Saranya.
Hope she's around.
Saranya, do we have you here on the screen? Please raise your hand. Can we unmute you? Yeah, she's there. Please, she's unmuted. Okay, okay. You were the ones to get us on Zoom. Yeah. So now you better get agile and active towards the concluding part of the conference, because all thanks goes to you also. So yeah, they are eager to hear you. Okay. Kiran ma'am, please unmute her. We cannot hear her. She's not audible.
Am I audible, please?
Yes. Now, ma'am, you're audible. Please go on.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Padneet. My heart goes out to all of you present here. And I don't know if it was deliberately chosen, but I think the people who were called on stage to give out my award are people that I hold really close to my heart. Thank you so much for standing by me all these years as I wrote poetry and encouraging me every step of the way. I think the joy of a poet lies not so much in materialistic things, but in the moral support of fellow poets. And for me, I have been specifically blessed to be in the company of stalwarts like Dr. Anand, stalwarts like Arindam Das, stalwarts like Tariq Muhammad Saab, Inderjit Ji. All of these people have really embraced me like one of their own daughters and sisters, and it is wonderful to be pampered this way, to say no less. My heart also goes out in gratitude to Mr. Ravi Ranganathan, my uncle and my poetic father. He's somebody that has always been the backbone of all the ventures that I have had in writing. Thank you, Mama. It is without you, I don't think I would have taken these nascent steps and surged ahead. Thank you very much. I would like to present a short piece that I had chosen to present here at World Poetry Conference. Had we been together in person, I would have presented this on the stage. It's called Why I Write in English. When the tradesmen came with excuses reeking of wealth, they came with no guarantees for my ideas of self. They deftly rewrote my aspirations, tilled my dreamscapes to the point of barrenness, and taxed me for their kind of produce. They called me names and reminded me of my ancestral follies. Oh, that they never let me forget. They replaced my jasmine wafts with strains of daffodils and tulips, and upon my 300,000 varieties of native grains, they thrust the unifying idea of bread.
Hello.
On my palm leaves of infinity and calculus, they smeared mundane inks of clerical arithmetic. Over my proud, free, voluptuous body and mind, they fastened blouses and corsets of false modesty. And it all came down to that final blow. They told me, and I believed, borders ought to be explained in a common tongue. And just when I thought freedom would dissolve all pale faults, they left with my colored language, the language I laughed and cried and dreamt in. Thank you. And I think it's some sort of a redemption that we continue to write in this tongue. Of course, we are grateful for the fact that it's a unifying factor, but how much it has taken away from us is something that I will always remember. I once again reiterate my gratitude to all of you for having considered me worthy of this stage and of this honor. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
You are most welcome.
Yeah, that was amazing, Saranya. That was amazing. And yes, we are tied with
Anna, ma'am, I wish to say something. First of all, thank you so much for being in touch with us since morning, and apologies for being troubling you even when you were on the way from the workplace to your home. Really, but you are such a wonderful soul. Hazel-eyed beauty seems like a Greek goddess to me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. I was glad I was of some help.
Okay, thank you so much. Praneet, we may like to call back Dr. Suneet. She wants to read out her poem.
Okay, sir. I invite Dr. Suneet Madan once again to please present whatever she feels appropriate here. Yeah. We need to unmute her, Kiran.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She is.
I got that. I got that. Actually, because it was announced that there's paucity of time, and so I did not recite the poem that I had slated for today, which is actually in tune with the current times that we've been facing. And since everybody recited, I thought I might as well recite one of my poems according to the times, which is titled Conundrum from Contagion. Painful interconnectedness of each barb, maddening illusion of togetherness, unwelcomed absurdity in societal sentiment, jolted by the menacing human coldness, journeying into the secret and forbidden, echoing revelations in the gnarly tunnels, constricting spaciousness of uncertainty, disorienting loneliness, eroding sanity, blinding stillness in the tumultuous outpour, wrapped in the ashes of lived moments, footprints wiped from the track of time, wrapped in the ashes of lived moments, footprints wiped from the track of time. That's how the contagion has actually been. Thank you. This is
That
my
was beautiful. That was metaphoric. That was brilliant. Thank you for sharing, Dr. Suneet. So,
Thank you.
Dr. Anand, we move on to the feedbacks and comments.
Please call our guests like Ravi Ranganathan, Raj Babu, who want to say something, one or two lines or whatever. Just.
Yeah, we have with us all our friends, poet peers, Tejaswini ma'am, Gitanjali ma'am. If I've missed some name, please forgive me because I'm not able to see everything on the screen. I might have missed out a name. Please apologies from my side. Akshay Kumar ji, and we also have Anuja Singh, we have Rosie. So we invite comments and feedback.
Ma'am, I've unmuted everyone. So if they wish, they can unmute themselves and express themselves.
I would like to say something.
Please name your
Hello.
let's go with Dear Jernail.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have
Hello.
fans talking to us.
Okay. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Though I understand that we are already running short of time, and there is a lot to say, but I would like to cut it short. And I would like to first of all express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Anand for creating this wonderful platform for the meeting of great poetic minds. It has been a wonderful session listening to all the speakers. It was a great experience. I think Dr. Anand's book, it was described as, he's described as a poet of contradictions and contraries. I really love this phrase, and as much I have read him, I can vouch for it. That is very true. Then listening to Dr. Lakshmi Sri Banerjee, it was wonderful. And Dr. Anand's phrase, imaginative quotient, that was one thing I loved because I think nobody talks about imaginative quotient these days. But I think that is the most important quality that we need to nurture and create. And as poets, the onus is on us to enrich this imaginative quotient. And apart from that, I congratulate all the people who have been awarded for the great work that they are doing. So my heartiest congratulations to all of them, and let there be more laurels of this kind for you to achieve. And we look forward, though we are meeting virtually today due to obvious reasons, due to the pandemic, we look forward to another such great meeting of minds in the coming times when things improve and things are better. Thank you so much.
Raj Babuji, please call Raj Babu.
Yeah, invite Raj Babu Gandanji, sir. Are you there on the screen? Please join us for a brief feedback. Okay. Sir,
He didn't have connection. There was heavy rain.
Okay,
So
yes.
his message right.
Now it's okay.
Right.
Yeah, okay,
Am I
okay.
audible?
First day. Yeah.
Yeah,
Say.
I congratulate Dr. Jernail Anand and the team for organizing this fantastic meeting virtually, and the two meeting the deadline of the same day. I used to interact with Dr. Jernail since last couple of months, and he was really hectically going ahead to meet the deadline, and I really congratulate with my heart for organizing this in such a wonderful manner. And though it's virtual, it doesn't appear so that I really felt that we were all together on one platform. And for wonderful speakers who gave a lot of impetus about how the poetry and how the literature can change the thinking pattern of the human being. The change has to come from within. Every time everybody wanted to get the change from outside. Nothing can be done from outside. If I want a change in the society, a change in the thought process, first I need to change myself. Unless I change myself, I can never infuse any other soul to change. So the right attitude and love and compassion towards the fellow beings, towards the nature as a whole. And we have seen this in COVID times, that why the nature has given us a big lesson how to respect all these five elements around us. And we have to really respect the five elements which we are born out of it, so that we can sustain ourselves and the generations to come. This is the message. And Dr. Anand's book also tells with this questionnaire about love, compassion, about the spiritual aspects of all these things are included in the book. I have in my email, and I really congratulate in organizing this event so wonderfully, and all the speakers who have given us a real view of how the behavioral pattern should be. Thank you very much for Parmeet Jaggi and Mukesh Grover for organizing so wonderfully, and Saranya for technical support. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you. Nice to have you with us. Ravi, sir, we would like to hear some.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Dr. Jernail Sir, WPC is growing. Why? Guys, because amidst the galaxy of all the stars here, you are the superstar. And the recipients of awards are the brightest stars.
Without superstars, stars would not be born. No? Without a superstar, stars would not be born.
Are you able to hear me? Able to hear me?
We need an umbrella superstar on top of our head. So that small stars are born now and then.
So it was really wonderful, because last year's memory was excellent in Batinda, and this virtual memory has really exceeded that memory now. So we really enjoyed it. And
thank you so much.
One quality I like in Dr. Jernail Singh is he's able to get the best out of everybody. That we have to consider. And those who participated in that question and answer session, they will tell what wonderful, extraordinary questions it was, and how it made all of us think so much. So I really congratulate all those who have participated here. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi, sir. Thank you. So glad to have you with us. I invite the other guests also. Just Koliji, would you want to?
Yes.
I would. Please carry on.
Go ahead.
Molly Joseph, man, we would like to hear something. Yeah.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. It was a marvelous evening, I would say. Last year, I very much wanted to attend this function. Now only I understand how much of core quality this kinds of programs possess, especially the way Dr. Parneet was organizing it, anchoring it, and calling in multiple perspectives onto the topic with an analytical anchoring.
Thank you.
And thank you. It's fast fleeting. I would say the 5 books They were just a compendium of that mastermind, behind Dr. Jernail Singh, Dr. Jernail Singh. I have always respected him as somebody with a bold take of his own, past, in the present. He dares to define and redefine the acquired knowledge of the past. So it was a real opportunity you gave me to analyze the book, the Mahabharata, the War of Words. And of course, the mega thing that is 21st century voices. You gave me space, you gave space for all of us.
You see.
So that, yes, I'm taking too much of time, I'm winding up. Thing is, it was like, each poet expressing her worldview, her way of taking.
So if we will log out, we are host.
In the time, what you contribute to the timeless, especially in these COVID-stricken days. Even a minute nano virus, which can be destroyed in a soap bubble, can upset the whole world. We writers have a bounden duty to instill faith and hope amidst this uncertainty. Coming back to today's program, I would say the young talents who have been honored, truly well deserved, how well they were putting forth their takes on things, perspectives, analysis of contemporaneity. Thank you for giving us this brilliant moments which we will cherish. I would say personally, I would cherish forever. And the great illuminating talks and the takeaways we had from those talks. So it is truly enriching. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Holy Joseph, ma'am. Thank you so much. Over to Jess Kohli, sir. Can we hear a few words?
Ashu, ma'am.
I have just
Yeah,
a second.
please proceed. Please proceed.
So I have made a very keen observation about Dr. Anand, that ever since the supply to his heart has been augmented, so he seems unstoppable. He's a man in a hurry.
Yeah, true. He wants to do everything, maybe overnight, maybe in every day.
And I wonder if he actually sleeps from his output.
You're right.
Kohli, sir, neither he sleeps and nor he has anyone else sleep at home.
So it has been a great evening. Actually, it has left me spellbound, and I have gained so much from the thoughts and the poems of all the learned people here. And I really want to congratulate Dr. Anand, Dr. Kiran-Preet, Dr. Mukesh Grover, and Dr. Praneeth for the being the Sutradhar. She has sort of lubricated. She's acted as a grease, as a lubricant for the evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Dr. Kohli. Wonderful. Gitanjali is there.
So wonderful being here, and it is such a fantastic evening spent in the most enriching way. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Parneet, you took it away. You took everyone's thunder away. You did it. You curated such a beautiful session with your anchoring and your hosting. And I congratulate you, and congratulations to all of the prize winners. And
I must admit, ma'am, I must admit something. I sacrificed my presentation only so that you could all sleep in time and you're not more late than now.
But we'd love to listen to you.
Yeah.
We anyway sit up. So what I want to say is, here the Guru chose us. He's sitting right there. We didn't choose him. He chose us. And we are so fortunate, Dr. Jernail ji, for this fantastic coming together of many souls. Poetry connects. Poetry always connects. And this is, we are all witnesses of the virtual reality. That's a fantastic, theme. And thank you again. And I'll never forget this. And I have learned so much from this wonderful group. I leave the platform to others who want to give their feedback too. Have a wonderful, I carry away beautiful memories. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hello.
I would like
Sure.
to say a few words. Yes. Namaskar, everybody. It was such a pleasure listening to all of you. And well, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Jernail Sir for giving me this platform, for bringing out the poet in me. And well, the World Poetry Conference of Batinda encouraged me and my sisters so much that we brought out our own book and a Rendezvous of Words, which was launched recently, wherein Jernail Sir was kind enough to write the foreword. Well, I feel like it's so easy to criticize people and put them down, but it does take a large heart to encourage and
Correct.
bring up any upcoming artist, and this is what Jernail Sir has done. And yes, and it's awesome that I got to edit so many books because of Jernail Sir's confidence in me. I have my kitty full. I'm so very happy, sir. Thank you so much. And well, last year to be able to share a platform with Madam Adi and all other luminaries like Arindam Dada, Tariq Ji, Bhagirat Sir, Paneet Ma'am, Lalit Sir, Dr. Jas Kohli, Mukesh Grover, Kiran Grover, all of you, it was a great feeling. And today, my congratulations to all the awardees. And Dr. Paneet ma'am, you have been a wonderful, wonderful, awesome host. I really, so motivating. It was awesome, I tell you. And well, I want Batinda Part 2 to happen soon again, wherein we can meet in person, share our thoughts face to face. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Caroline Trunk is from France.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, may I invite Caroline from France to please come up on the screen and say something for the conference? May I invite Caroline?
Ma'am, can you please ask ma'am to raise her hand because I am not able to locate her. If she would raise her hand, I'll come to know.
Caroline ma'am from France, can you please raise your hand so that you're visible and we can see you and unmute you?
Yeah.
Not there, then go.
No, I can see
Mirzana. Try if Mirzana is there.
Yeah, Mirzana is all here. Ma'am, can you have...
Bonjour, bonjour à tout le monde, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Excusez-moi, je ne sais pas parler anglais. Merci beaucoup à Dr. Anand, merci beaucoup, je suis très heureux d'être avec vous. Et malheureusement, je ne sais pas parler anglais. Et je vous aime tout le monde. Merci.
J'ai compris ce que vous avez dit, madame. Et
okay.
je veux traduire ce que vous avez dit à tous ici. What she said was that she's, unfortunately, she doesn't speak in English, but she's extremely happy with Dr. Jernail,
okay.
and she, and she's very happy to be here.
Franchement, je suis très désolée. Ça, c'est, franchement, c'est un grand handicap, normalement, mais malheureusement, je ne sais pas parler anglais, je suis d'origine turque, arabe, et j'habite à Paris. Je parle 3 langues, turc, arabe et français, pas plus de ça. Comment je vous ai dit, merci beaucoup encore à vous, à Dr. Anand. Elle m'a donné une bonne occasion pour être avec vous dans cette anthologie.
Okay.
Merci, je suis très heureux, merci franchement.
She says it's a handicap that she couldn't speak in English, but that she's traveling a lot,
voilà.
and she's very happy
Tout à
with
fait,
the 2
malheureusement.
anthologies.
Même malheureusement, normalement, c'est un grand handicap, même pourquoi je ne parle pas indienne. C'est pour moi.
Nul n'est handicap parce que je suis interprète ici.
Ah bah c'est bien, heureusement vous êtes là,
Oui, je suis très heureuse aussi, oui. Merci.
Ah voilà. Comment je dis?
Thank you so much.
Merci.
You are welcome.
Merci à tous, franchement.
Merci beaucoup,
merci. À bientôt, peut-être que je vais apprendre à parler anglais, après on peut parler mieux.
Next time she says she'll speak in English.
Merci. Oh, tout à fait.
Bravo.
Merci.
Okay.
Merci. Au revoir.
Indeed,
Merci, au
poets
revoir.
are singers. Akshay Kumarji to become active on stage for the audience is waiting for your special surprise package. Akshay Kumarji, may I request you, I've just got you a secret that you carry, that you are a great singer and a conference cannot unwind without your song.
Thank you. Are you able to listen to me?
Yes.
Yeah, audible.
Sir, I'm very indeed grateful to you for making me a part of this great event. Just exactly as I was browsing through the past last year, exactly the same date we were there at Batinda, and I shared some of the memorable photographs in Facebook, and so with some of the great poets. And today I am very lucky to be with all of you, and some of my very good friends who have been a real part and parcel of my life, who have been great support. And since 2017 April, I have been associated with you at KIT International Film that festival, FIS festival hosted by Dr. Amelie Cuisin, where you were a guest.
Yeah.
And it was a great opportunity. From then, I have been associated with you, and it was a nice journey with you, because I think I was very late to literature. So thank you very much, sir, for the great opportunity you have given me for, in this platform, and I am indeed grateful to you. In this difficult times of this COVID-19, we have lost many of my office colleagues. We are passing through a very difficult phase. But in spite of that, poetry is life. Life is poetry. That is how we have to react to the world and give a message of peace to the world. So you are interested to listen a song from me. So today, because it's the weather is very inclement here, so I would sing one. I think one song I would like to make you all dance like that. That's one of my favorite. आजा सनम मधुर चांदनी में हम तुम मिले दोवेरा में भी आ जाएगी बहार झूमने लगेगी आसमां झूमने लगेगी आसमां कहता है दिल और मचलता है दिल मोरे साजन ले चल मुझे तारों के पार लगता नहीं है दिल यहाँ लगता नहीं है दिल यहाँ भीगी भीगी रात में दिल का दामन थाम ले खोई खोई जिंदगी हरदम तेरा नाम ले हर चांद की बहकी नजर कह रही है प्यार कर जिंदगी है एक सफर कौन जाने कल किधर आजा सनम मधुर चांदनी में हम तुम मिले दोवेरा में भी आ जाएगी बहार दिल ये चाहे आज तो बादल बन उड़ जाऊं मैं दुल्हन जैसी आसमां धरती पर ले आऊं मैं हर चांद की डोला सजे झूम तारों में मचे झूम के दुनिया कहे प्यार में दो दिल मिले आजा सनम मधुर चांदनी में हम तुम मिले दोवेरा में भी आ जाएगी बहार झूमने लगेगा आसमां झूमने लगेगा आसमां थैंक यू
Very well.
थैंक यू सर
मुकेश तारिक साहब
हाँ जी
थैंक्स कर दे सभी
Tarik sir, good evening. Yes, good evening.
हाँ जी, आपको thanks करना
Yes,
है?
please. Yes, I'm here. Can I speak now?
Yes, sir, please.
Well, I'm the last rung in the ladder and far, far away. Dr. Jernail Singh, can you hear me?
Of course, of course.
And I have been given a responsibility from Dr. Anand for a vote of thanks. So here is my vote of thanks. My first vote of thanks goes to Sargun and Hargun for giving us some colors in our black and white literature. And the Grover team of Dr. Mukesh and Dr. Kiran for organizing this. And right after that, my thanks goes to Dr. Parneet Jaggi for doing an awesome job of this coordination. I'm known for speaking out. Dr. Jernail Anand thinks that I can speak very fast, so I'm going to try and speak quickly. And who am I right now from this end is due to Dr. Anand. He has been my friend, philosopher, and guide, and given me a new life in writing. Once again, I have stopped writing, and today I do write, and everybody practically knows me who are here. So I would thank him for creating these books. The questions he created for each individual, that is enough an accomplishment rather than the whole book, just the question itself. For every individual person, whether he's a poet, writer, author, professor, each he has thought in his mind and created those questions. And of course, mine too. So thanks goes to Anand, Dr. Jernail Singh Anand, the very, very most 100% from my side. Then I would like to thank Dr. Basudev Chakravarti from Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's country, and hometown girl Mandakini for coming here. Our loyalty and thanks. Dr. Maha, an illustrious personality and the most Condian Adi Kaparas Manila from Sydney, deserves our gratefulness and thanks. While honoring Principal Surendra Lalji, thanks goes to Dr. Lalit Mohan Sharma, a literary pillar from the foothills of the Himalayas, and my hometown girl, which I already mentioned. Thanks goes to my choti, whom I have made my sister, Saradia, who is a brightness, who when she enters the room, she brightens the room. Thanks goes to her, and our senior reporter, Mr. Arindam Roy, who is a pillar of this society, and the webinar he is doing, I'm following him also, and our senior elder brother, Bhagirath Chaudhary ji, who is a renowned personality. Everybody knows him. There's nothing I can't add much to his personality. With us, we have not only a poet, a singer, a writer, but a man who can change, a transformer, Dr. Kohli. He's a transformer. If I don't have a mustache, he can create one. If I have one, he can take it off. He can do whatever he wants to. And a gentleman poet have always found, the word gentleman always comes when I think about Ravi Sahab. He's not only a gentleman, he's so genteel, I would say. So I thank him for being my friend, Dr. Shobha Sharma, Dr. Sharita Sharma, and Dr. Luna from Philippines, and of course, the awesome big man, Raj Babu Gandham. I thank everyone. Dr. Shushminder Kaur is also here. I want to thank her for being part of WPC.
Tarak sir.
Yes, sir.
Stella is there. Stella, Luna, is she there?
No, she's not there, but she had put up something yesterday, so she knows this is going on. So if she's not there, maybe I just wanted to give her a thank, because she had printed something, she had posted something yesterday. Only thing, she didn't have the time right. She said it was 7:30 a.m. instead of p.m. So I just wanted to give her the thanks. And I think that's all. And if I missed out anybody's name, I'm very sorry. Akshay Kumar Das, he really entertained us as usual. He's a dear friend of mine. And
Raj Babu is there.
And Raj Babu, I already named him. There's one thing I would like to say here, Dr. Saab. Today we are virtually meeting.
Yeah.
In our own homes, we are meeting. But in the near future, maybe we will not be alive at that time. We can teleport ourselves. It is available in science fiction movies, but one day we might be able to teleport ourselves in one room. Maybe we won't be able to shake hands, but our images can be in the same room. So we don't know the physics, what he explained. Dr. Swaraj, I think, Surendra Pal, I can't remember his name. But one day we might be able to teleport ourselves. Dr. Kohli, a scientific man, is here. He understands what I'm saying. Each will have its own teleportation machine. He can go inside the machine and transport himself to Dr. Jernail Singh's drawing room and start our own program again. So thank you so much, and for a wonderful, wonderful program. And I am so happy to be a part of this all the way. I have waited because I was the last person to talk, so it's now in Dr. Jernail Singh's hands to give the final little bit of his thoughts and his feelings for today's. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
And signing off from America, Tariq.
Thank you so much, Tariq Saab. But it was a wonderful meet. And I'm sorry if some people who may have liked to speak, because we are already out of time frame. So
that's right.
we will give them time whenever we find it next. So I am thankful to all of you, all the people who are around, who spent their precious moments with us. Some I can see, some I can't see, some I can only feel. And Dr. Parneet Jaggi, who did her job excellently, Mukesh ji, Sweetie, and all the award winners, and all the speakers, Dr. Vasudev, Surinder Lalji, and all other friends, Lalit Mohanji, Swaraj, everybody who played his part so well. And it is all your commitment, your giving to this function that has made it something to be remembered. So we remembered our last year, and hopefully we will be meeting again maybe in the early next year at Chandigarh. Thank you once again, everyone, the kids also, Sophie, and all the best, sir. If there is anything mishappening or somebody is not mentioned here, we feel sorry. And if we have not given time to anyone, it will be given whenever we meet next time. Thank you so much. Let us call it a day, although it is night. Thank you very much once again.
Bye. Take care. Thank you.
Good night. Is there anything left? Tariq साहब बोल रहे हैं कुछ? Tariq sir?
Yes, sir, I'm coming. I'm here.
You are saying,
yes, sir. Yes.
Saying something?
Yeah, I just want to be very appreciative for everything and for everyone here. And it was a great, great feeling because I am alone here and I don't have a...
Kiran, Ashu is there?
I think he left.
Ashu had joined.
I think she left.
And Renu was here, Renu Gupta. If she is there, you can just.
Renuji is still here. Inderjeet Singh ji is there.
There.
Missed out their words, but you see. And Mukesh ji is there behind the scenes, hiding behind the curtains. We need to find him out and put him on screen and thank him in person.
Actually, I was hoping that I would be given some time to speak, but actually it is already too late. So
I wanted to say something. Dr. Jernail Sir, Mukesh ji, 1 second.
Yes,
There
sir.
is one person who's still muted. Sijo was here right now. Where did he vanish?
Please call him.
I just saw him.
Called him for the award.
Mr. Sijo Joseph is there. I would request him to say a few words. Mr. Sijo, please speak up.
Yes, definitely, I will go ahead with that. It's a fantastic and a marvelous thing.
Thank you for speaking out.
Yes, it's a fantastic and a marvelous thing that I have. You see, this is for the first time I have attended a conference on a kind of on a virtual platform, and I need to tell you that I was no one, nowhere. And Jernail Sir, dear Jernail Sir, I always address him that way. He only brought me into the limelight, and he gave me a platform. And if whatever I am, it's because of him. I'm eternally indebted to him.
A lot of people, including myself,
of course.
He has brought me. And of course, you have brought yourself in the picture by becoming a self-made critic. But you do a great job. You do a fantastic job, no doubt about it. I wanted you to come out and say a few words. So thank you, Mr. Joseph, for coming out and speaking.
Okay.
Back to
thank you.
Back to Mukesh ji.
Thank you. Yes, I am very much here.
Inderjeet sir, please continue.
I am very much thankful for this very gorgeous event that is in commemoration of the WPC 1, which held physically at Bathinda. I met so many new people over there, and till date I cherish those memories in my heart, and I think these will be cherished throughout my life as an indispensable part of my life. So I am highly thankful to Dr. Jernail Singh for bringing me up to this level, and all other dignitaries and world famous literary personalities who have given me such an amazing chance to speak before them. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Right, Inderjeet, be happy and healthy.
Okay, thank you.
Call Meenakshi Goswami. Praneet, Meenakshi, if she is around.
She was there, but often on I think she gets disconnected because of some network issues. We could see her a couple of times coming in.
Renu Gupta ma'am here. Renu Gupta ma'am.
Renu ma'am is there. Renu ma'am is there, yeah ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, good evening.
You want to say
I would conclude just with one line.
Yeah,
about the whole event, I would like to say, I have eyes to wonder, but lack tongues to pray. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
So, Praneet, give them a message. If anybody wants to say, let them say something.
Yeah, sure.
This is Rosie Lydia.
From Rosie, yeah.
Rosie,
word from Rosie, sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. It has been a great evening. Meeting a lot of new people. Ms. Praneet, your anchoring was extraordinary. I just loved it. And congratulations, Saranya ma'am and all the others. And I've met also a lot of new people. Thank you so much for the opportunity that you're creating for the young people like us, sir. If not because of you, I wouldn't be here, I think. Thank you for these great opportunities. I'm ever indebted, sir. Thank you so much, Anand, sir.
All right, welcome. Thank you. And grow, prosperous.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else, please? If somebody wants to speak, let her.
Thank you, Jernail Sir. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Why not?
Please.
Hello.
speaking.
Please go on, Poonam ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. It was a wonderful evening, of course, hosted so very well by Parneet ji. Congratulations. And very well organized by a very genius organizer, Sir, Jernail Sir. And we look forward to more such programs. And big hearty congratulations to all the winners. And it was lovely being with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else, please?
Just Mukesh ji is left behind the curtain to say something. Some words, some technical problems that he has been facing. No? Okay. All went well, sir.
I am there, ma'am.
You made people dance, you made people speak, you made people play videos, play poetry, you made people do everything. So you are a proper, what do we call it, puppeteer. Behind the curtain, you had thread.
Parneet ma'am, now he'll be joining me in the kitchen as well.
Yeah, sure. This is what I'm waiting for. So find a screen and let's wait for things to happen inside the family.
Exactly.
Thank you all. Thank you.
So we are parting in the hope of meeting again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Now next time in Chandigarh.
Yes, hopefully so. Yes, soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye and good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you so much. You have done a lot. All the best to everybody. Good night.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saab. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj Babuji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Praji. Namaskar.
Wonderful.
Sir, Rajabu sir, thank you, one and all.
Thank you.
Most welcome, sir. Mukesh did great, and we enjoyed your program so well.
Sanaya ma'am, thank you.
Wonderful, sweetie. You have done well.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
All the best, please.
Thank you to everyone.